Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is December 2nd. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I gotta say I wasn't ready for that start there. I was abiding by the 30 seconds of silence and
we got it. PJ
just
went
came out
thumbs
of
up.
nowhere.
We're allowed to go. This is like, we're not used to all these live professionalization production on the back end here, but PJ's got us minding our P's and Q's. Did you have a good 4 or 5 day weekend? We're doing live here Sunday night, posted Monday audio, waiting all day for Sunday night. I was watching that with my kids when that song came up, doing my research. I said, the worst Sunday night on a 4-day weekend, nobody's waiting for that. That's especially no one's waiting for that Sunday night. After a 4-day, 5-day holiday weekend of binging, eating, food, relaxation, that's the least waiting you do. That's the most treacherous, scary Sunday night. But the song apparently disregards all that mental anguish.
My weekend was frankly pretty shitty.
Why?
We had a stomach bug run through the household. No. I got out unscathed.
Oh, literally shitty weekend.
It was awful. It was tough.
That's tough.
I ate Indian food on Thanksgiving. It was dire.
Really?
It was yeah, we couldn't go anywhere.
Thanksgiving Day proper. It was just a washout. Yeah. Couldn't do
Couldn't do anything.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
And good news that Matt Eberflus is gone.
That is good news. Let's do Swag Sports Minute here. Or go to swag.golf. This hat feels like it happened 2 years ago at this point. Thanksgiving Day. We hosted Thanksgiving. I'm just running from oven to stovetop to bar and all this stuff. And I start seeing like these tweets about I asked how'd the game end? And I didn't really find out until like 8 hours later when I finally sat down and realized they just ran clock and kept the timeout. I got these like push notifications like Eberflus defends game ending. I was like, oh God, I wonder what happened. And so it seemed like an eventful Thanksgiving game for your Bears, your Chicago Bears.
I mean, I think there's a lot of blame to go around, but it's just a culmination of so many mistakes. I don't know how much you want to hear about this, but that was one of the most shocking ends to the game. Like to not get a kickoff, to not
timeout for the road.
To leave with my favorite tweet was something like, Eberflus was saving the timeout so he could share it with his family over Thanksgiving.
That's good. But Caleb looked all right. Seems like they hung tough with the best.
I love my Packers fans that like to get into my mentions. They got in there early after the first half. Then Caleb just lit him up in the second half.
Do you have a Jack Campbell take? Caleb is still very upset about that for whatever reason.
You know what? I have more of the Al Shahir take, who laid a cheap shot on Caleb in like week 2, and I kind of remember watching that game and being like, I don't like that guy's energy, and then what he did today was bad news. But I think the Jack Campbell thing. Was he going for his knee? Yeah, he was. And Caleb moved out of the way and he hit his hip. It was a dirty play. It was a dirty play. Where he went for was dirty. What do you think? You're a Lions apologist.
I mean,
employee.
I did think it was late. I thought Caleb was going out of bounds. You didn't need to get involved there. I will.
Like Major Tutty. Late stepping out of bounds, just trying to wipe him out.
Nothing was as bad as Major Tutty.
But this is progress, Andy. The first firing in season in the 100-year history of the Bears. What's next? What's the hot rumors around town? What are they saying? Who's coming?
What's next?
We won't know. Kevin Warren's washing his car.
Mediocre assistant coach. That's what we do. There's nothing.
You're gonna hire Cliff.
Cycle.
You're gonna hire Cliff.
Oh my
God, that'd be a disaster.
Pair him with
awful. It's people are like, yeah, based off his worst year in college was when he was paired with Cliff Kingsbury.
This is true.
But anyways, the Bears are gonna hire some like B-level assistant
Coordinator for sure.
That's a coordinator, and they're not gonna spend the big money, and then Ryan Poles is gonna get fired, and then we're gonna hire a new GM who has this B-level coach that he didn't hire, and a quarterback he didn't draft.
We are
And
a
this
long way
cycle-
from August. We
the
are a
cycle
long way
is just
from
gonna
the optimism of August. Jesus.
I was making the compilation. I didn't actually think he was going to get fired midseason, but I might just take the front end of this and end the compilation here. I don't really
We
know what
do
else we
have
have
a-
to play for.
This
We
is
have an
this
Andy
is the
roller
way it
coaster
works. This is
ready.
the way it works. But we have, for the first time in my life, a franchise quarterback. We have a legitimate quarterback that we have somehow not screwed up.
Who do you
Even-
want?
Despite
Even if
despite I don't know if there's ever been a more malicious attempt to screw him up than putting him out there with Eberflus and Waldron.
they've done their best. They've tried.
They haven't screwed it up. But I
Loose
wanted to
is
talk
loose.
about, I wanted to actively campaign here. Join my coach, Bert Bielema, actively campaign. Illinois, the stats say Illinois is the best 3-loss team.
That tweet was hilarious. This tweet was
He went
unbelievable.
at Lane tonight.
Oh, he's
just like
tweeting
an
at
hour
Lane
ago.
Kiffin
Yeah.
about he was arguing for a playoff spot.
Well, Lane was talking about why they should get a playoff spot, and Bert pointed out we've got a better strength of schedule than you, and your 3 losses come against all unranked teams. Our 3 losses are number 1, Oregon, number 3, Penn State, and a bowl eligible Minnesota. I mean, we've got a great.
So
Okay.
I mean,
If we didn't lose
There's
Minnesota,
gonna be-
we
you
would
can't
be
put-
in. We'd be
you can't
in.
put 5 teams from the Big Ten in, and there's 4 that are essentially locks.
We
You
would have
can't
been
put 5
in. If
teams
we
in.
hadn't lost to Minnesota at home, we'd be in.
You've
I
got
said it
4
when
in
it
there.
happened.
You did.
I don't even know about that. You can't, or you can put. There's 4 locks: Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. You put them in as a 5th team, even with 2 losses. I don't know. Maybe it can. I'm dubious of the whole SEC stuff. Not that I have no bias against them, but it's crazy. What's
I
that?
don't know.
But maybe you'll get in.
If we didn't lose to BC, we would be in the ACC title game. We would be
That's
the
right.
ACC's one bid.
I know.
How
You
about
knocked me
that?
off
How
them.
about that W?
I
Just
Miami
that
stinks.
football
Who have
club.
they beaten? They haven't beaten anybody.
They're not going to get in.
no, they haven't
They'll be
beaten
at 12.
anybody.
They haven't beaten anybody. Well, neither of. I mean, Texas hasn't really beaten anybody. A
They
lot
beat
of teams
Texas
haven't.
A&M at least.
They did. They didn't look good. They whipped up on them. So, a lot of teams haven't beaten anybody. You want Vrabel?
I think that's who I most want.
Everybody wants Vrabel. I want
Ohio
Vrabel.
State.
Like-
People say Ohio State is going for Vrabel. I would not want to be coach of Ohio State. Many
That
family
seems
and
like a
friends.
terrible job.
Those
How about
people are
that loss?
deranged. Those people are deranged. They have family and friends. I would take the Bears job in a heartbeat over Ohio State.
I think it'd be hard to argue that anybody had a better Saturday than Kyle McCord.
It would be hard to argue that. It really would be hard to argue that.
Good day for old Kyle.
He led the country in passing. If you told me in last November or December when Kyle McCord committed to Syracuse, you're gonna go 9-3, and Kyle McCord is gonna lead the country in passing, I
Wow.
don't know what my reaction.
I mean, this
While
comes from
Will
someone-
Howard throws it into the ground for nothing.
I mean, we're
23-point
we're
fan.
two football fan bases that are elated on cloud 9 about our football programs, 2 orange and blue. And I mean, imagine where we are considering we both shared in the Tommy DeVito's
There was a tweet
Tommy
today
DeVito story.
from one of my classmates, Tim Leonard, who works for Syracuse now. Kyle McCord in 12 games with the Orange surpassed 4 years of Tommy DeVito career stats.
That's amazing. He's
Literally in every category.
Worked out for him. All right, so we got 3 bowl
All right.
eligible teams: BC,
Maybe
finishes 7-5. Great.
You might want to tweet out to the rest of the
Football.
audience. We're done. We're done with the football talk. We're done with Sports Minute.
Go to swag.golf.
They got
probably
good
mention them.
shit. They got good stuff.
Very hardy. It's made of good material. So you hold it in your hands. It's very substantive. Some of these are flimsy and shitty, but they're very popular. You go to what's that?
The putters are great.
Putters are legit. All right. Swag.golf. Check them out. Thanks to them for their support. Let's quickly hit. We're going to give you 2 hours a year in review stuff. So just abide the 8 minutes of
we don't even talk about golf anymore.
Oh God, people it's November, now December. Like, I'm sorry. We'll get back to we're not gonna do this in July. I promise you. But
I got on I was grumpy this weekend because I was cleaning up throw up everywhere.
Yeah, that's not good.
I got a question. Is it worse being the lone soldier that doesn't go down? Or is it worse being someone that goes down?
It's a fair question. I'm doing some probably pretty deranged calculus in my head. Like, you lose some weight when you go down. It's kind of nice. You come down, you lose like quick 6-7 pounds in 24 hours. Not bad.
If you don't go down, you are just running around. It's like once 9 p.m.
It's tough.
It's just like
you're just on a swivel. It's terrible. That's tough. That's a tough scene. In golf this weekend, we had some golf. Riggs Johnston, RYGGS, wins the Australian Open on the men's side. Jia Shin wins on the women's side. Riggsy boy beat Curtis Luck, just turned pro out of Arizona State, got through DP World Tour Q School with the likes of Piss Bear Jr., Jacob Skov Olesen, Riggs from Arizona State, from rural Montana.
I was getting a lot of play on the telecast.
Montana apparently has contaminated water from some sort of plant with asbestos. Came out of the muck, literally. Brentley tweeted about this little town of Montana that's just seems like just a tort lawyer's dream out there for lawsuits. But Riggs came out of the muck in Montana, Arizona State, and now had full status on the DP World Tour, winning the Australian Open. I watched a little bit.
He got through Q School.
Yeah, he did. I just said that with PBJ, Piss Bear Jr. And so he's now got full status, and it's not even Christmas. Great win for him on a prominent event. First American to win since Spieth, just a guy in 2016.
So maybe that's how Spieth could recapture the magic. Go back.
I mean, that was the high point for Spieth fervor. Those Australian, and then he would go to the Hero. Remember when he won by 11 at the Hero? I think it was at Isleworth that one. You're like, oh my God, this guy's the best player in the world by a mile. That was really when he was flashing there. Maybe his high point, 15-16. So maybe. Riggs Johnston, congrats to him. Peter Uihlein wins the International Series Qatar. Haven't heard much about Peter this year, but still a good player. Wins that event.
Peter.
And then we're going to talk Wednesday more about recent golf news, not local golf. There's a Bloomberg report.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Australian Open.
Sure, go ahead. Kingston Heath, great overnight watching here.
I love the idea of concurrent golf tournament. The men and the women playing the same time on the same course. I don't think I love it in execution.
It is one of those things that's great on paper and social media,
you're watching and you can't get into either of them because it's they're flipping back and forth, and it's then the women's event finished early, and you don't do the proper you can't do the press the interview and the trophy stuff. They did it, but then the whole time you're well, the men's tournament's really close. What's going on? They're on hole 14 and 15. I think I like it early. The early round works for me. The last round does not. It doesn't at all. I'm like a hard no on it. I think they need to be like different times. Like, could you do the women's in the morning, the men's in the afternoon, or the men's in the morning, women in the afternoon? Like they each need on the final day to have their moment, because like the women's tournament wasn't as close. You know, it was like Buhai made it kind of interesting at the end, but it was a little bit of a runaway. And it was like they kept, you know, they're showing equal, and it's like, but like the one event's way more interesting. Like it was a jammed leaderboard, and it was, you know, it was really just a 2-horse race in the women's event, you know.
Yeah,
and it was like a distant 2-horse race, right?
right.
Like Buhai like made it closer than it really was.
Yeah,
I was bummed. I
makes
didn't see
sense.
any shots of Buhai's husband, David Buhai.
Anytime there's a reference, Ashley, you get David from you. Yeah, it works okay. Works for the Swedish one when they do the kind of commingled event. But it sounds better in theory, I think, than practice. That was a good overnight watch for people who, for me, for Saturday night, Friday night. It's kind of like toggling back and forth between football and that. So it's good.
Even though the courses were really soft because of rain, it was still fascinating. I mean, I don't know. You just need to get more golf at courses like Kingston Heath.
A lot of news. I think we're going to hit this on Wednesday when we talk Hero. We're going to take a pause on year in review for, I think we will. We'll see. But, you know, there's a Bloomberg report that the DP World Tour may be involved in negotiations with PIF themselves. Independent and separate from whatever is going on with the PGA Tour, SSG, and all that. This was a Bloomberg report. Interesting. I think Joseph Line is going to write about that for the Friday newsletter. Schedules align pretty nicely, as he'll point out. But yeah, seems like that could be a little extra bomb coming in from left field.
Yes.
What would you make of that?
I don't know. It's just the whole, when you look back, I did so much research on like, and you just look when we're in March now. It's like it's like crazy. If you only knew
how much things like, oh, well, that never happened. Oh, that's totally different. That was like, this is stability for the next 10 years. No, new board. So that's the report. Jay Monahan's salary came out. I think we'll talk
22 million.
23 in 2023, I believe.
Well, you got to give him the Michael Jordan treatment when he's Michael Jordan for golf. You know, the greatest that ever lived.
I mean, it's an absurd amount of money, but this is also catnip at first hollering. Like these commissioners all make, you know, Goodell makes $100 million. I'd say his league seems to be thriving in a different stratosphere, but yeah, and this isn't to say we should normalize it and not holler about it, but yeah, it's an absurd amount of money for a particularly woeful year. Yeah.
Oh, you know what we got to bring up?
What?
We're going to do giveaway for the YouTube audience.
I have to get in there.
We got to let people know.
All right, go ahead. Let them know.
Once a week. It's going to be the holiday season. Once a week from here till the end of year in review, which is slated for just before Christmas.
23rd.
Hopefully.
Better be.
I need like a few days off. It's got to be done. Yeah. We are going to give away
show and tell
weekly. So this isn't one. This is a lot.
Chaplain bag per week. I'm going the wrong
That's crazy.
Well, we're gonna you can do either fried egg or shotgun start.
Choice. Dealer's choice.
We've never done a shotgun start bag before.
The SGS logo pops on some of that, like that material, red or blue, canvas, whatever that is. But those are primo products, like hundreds of dollars, and we're not doing one. We're doing one a week for that.
One a week.
I don't know, 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
We're paying for these. This is not an ad either. We're paying for these. This is coming out of.
And how would one get those? You got to comment.
PJ, how does one get one?
Oh,
PJ's
yeah,
running the
punting.
contest.
Punting to
This is
PJ.
this is a
Hot
this is
potato,
a,
hot
this is a
potato.
total punt. We talked about this for 90 seconds before we got to this point.
How does someone who's listening to this in audio form get one? How
So
does someone it's got to be on YouTube.
Come to the Friday Golf YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Friday Golf YouTube channel. Leave a comment on your review part 3, our live stream. It'll be under the live tab. If you're currently watching, you know where to find it. But if you're on audio, it'll be under the live tab on Friday Golf YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment there. I don't know. What do we want to do? Favorite Cognizant Classic memory?
Favorite comment. You got to bring the heat.
Bring the heat.
Bring the heat. And then we'll pick a winner, and you'll email your information to SGS Golf Advice.
Those are awesome bags. I get
Amazing
a compliment
bags
on those bags like every time I'm out playing.
Again, I'm not paid by this company.
No,
I think it's the best golf bag on the market. It's not really close.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You can we'll get you any bag on their website too. It doesn't have to be a Sunday bag that I just held up. Sunday bag that has a stand. New Sunday bag with stand. That's nice. And then any other bags. So
I'm tweeting about this.
Here we go.
That's a good radio. All right. Should we get into the year in review?
Well, we should do Pro Shop while we're here. Go to Pro Shop. Black Friday still going on.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber
Monday. Come on. Don't
check it out.
This is the problem when Black Friday and Cyber Monday got combined. It took the shine off Cyber Monday.
Is that still a thing?
Well, I mean, it used to be that like Black Friday was for people for in-store. Cyber Monday was for all the websites. Now everything's the same. Now it's just the entire month.
Black Friday 24 is the code. It goes till Tuesday 12/3. I don't know when, because that would seem to be cyber. I don't know, midday Tuesday. Black Friday 24. Also, if you spend $250 or more, you can raffle. You enter a raffle to get a free entry into one of several events: Essex County, Colorado Golf Club, Old Barnwell. We picked some primo ones. You get like an option of 6 really good events next year. What are you laughing at, PJ?
Somebody said in the YouTube chat, basically, if PJ is running the contest, just praise Kyle McCord and you'll win. I will not be biased in my assessment. This will be a group decision.
I got the Task lawn sleeve hoodie on. It's lawn sleeve, not hoodie, but it's amazing. I bought this myself in a pro shop, and I'm obsessed with it. And we
not that one you're wearing.
No, I bought like a golf
bought
course
a tree farm one.
A tree farm one. That's correct.
Yeah.
A tree farm one. I was like, and it's amazing. I love it. You can work out in them. They're casual. They're amazing. I love them. I've got the new hats on. We're stocked and I think it's going well from what I understand. Black Friday 24, you get 20% off everything at checkout. Club TFE members get 25% off with their regular Club TFE code. Let's do this. Years in review. Let's start with we are done. West Coast Swain. Pretty underwhelming one. God, stinky. Bad. Hideki redeemed it slightly at the end, but we're swinging out to Florida.
Did it get better in Florida?
It did. It did. I'll chime in here.
Didn't get better at the Honda.
No. Honda, aka
wait, I'm up.
You are up. Cognizant
I didn't know
Classic
I was starting it off. I didn't know that this was first.
We kind of juggled the order here. You went. I guess you're going back to back with Genesis. No, PJ did Mexico, but now you're
Mexico's in between.
Yeah.
The
we
palate
got a good
cleanser.
little split going. Here, we're trying to load manage here at the top.
You need the Cognizant, or you need the Mexico to just like chill everybody out between two Goliaths like Cognizant and Riv. That's what you need, because Cognizant, it pops every year. Just all the stars show out, and by all the stars, I mean one. Rory McIlroy was the only big name player playing.
Rory did play this year, right?
Yeah, he did. He did. He was. He had. There's some good fodder for his press conference too. Do you know who won? You know who won now because of the fall.
I did from the research.
Austin
because it
Eckler.
went into Monday. Austin Eckler. I would not have remembered that
Did go into
at
Monday.
all.
Should we pass it off? Should we pass it off?
No,
to
bullshit.
You
I didn't
for the
research.
year in review.
I had covered my
I don't know.
research.
It's the next week.
No.
All right,
Eckler,
Austin
Austin
Eckler
Eckler.
wins in a Monday finish. So do you know why it was a Monday finish?
They didn't move tee times up. I know the tour own goal. They're kind of self-sabotage this one.
So they misread the weather forecast.
Oh, that's right.
They made a mistake reading the weather forecast. And a lot of people were like, wait, why haven't they moved tee times up? It's supposed to just dump rain in the afternoon. Sure enough, dumps rain in the afternoon. And maybe the worst sign for the Cognizant, the reality of like that maybe this event shouldn't exist. If you wanted to point out why an event shouldn't exist, do you know what people were most worried about the rain out?
What?
About the Seminole Pro member. What was going to happen to
yeah.
the Seminole? It wasn't
Right.
who's going to win the tournament. The general conversation was what's going to happen to the Seminole Pro member, which like when I thought about it in a vacuum, isn't that strange just in general?
I mean, it's kind of where we're at. I mean, that's just people on Twitter and stuff though, right? I mean, isn't it that are like worked up about that?
I mean, but like, why do we even care about the Seminole Pro member?
I think we've swung
like
a little too far.
One day
to
hit
want-
and giggle.
Yeah. I do think we've gone too far with the sort of lionization of that event. Yeah.
Anyways, that's just an aside. I loved you wrote in the newsletter a couple times this week, and I love this. This is the preview for the Honda Classic. What have they done to our beautiful boy? If I were an early 90s sports writer filling a newspaper column with one sentence paragraphs, I'd probably open with the PGA Tour has turned the bear trap into a mouse trap. But as this is a high-minded newsletter in the year of 2024, I would never make a hokey dad joke to emphasize the PGA Tour's castration of the proud Honda Classic.
I don't remember writing this at all. I mean, the Honda was so hot there. 2012, 13, Tiger, Phil, everybody's playing.
To emphasize the PGA Tour's castration of the once proud Honda Classic. And you know what you went in on? One of your favorite targets. PGA Tour championship management. This is a big storyline this week. The field was easily on pace to set the lowest single round scoring average. This has nothing to do with the PGA Tour. This is in parentheses. Flipping a par 4 into par 5, which balloons some scored to par numbers, but tells a less accurate story. The greens in regulation rate was running at a staggering 17% higher than the recent average. Data Golf was projecting a cut line in the region foreign to this hazard-strewn trap of a course. The betting experts were understandably mad about seeing a totally unexpected style of golf being played at a tournament with historically a very different brand. It became the dominant theme of the day. This was from the Friday newsletter.
Oh, I forgot they PGA Tourified it.
Yes.
Like I know, you rely on wind a little bit. It's always almost windy.
Let me keep going.
God.
You were on one here.
Oh God.
There's also the fact that this historic stop in its first year being run by Championship Management Division of the PGA Tour. The tour has a certain level of control over every event, but they really sink their teeth into that championship management snaps up. I recently spoke to one longtime Riviera observer who lamented the dark years of minimal fans and weak fields at that tourney when it was under the control of PGA Tour Championship Management. They may be more interested in selling hospitality suites than in drawing mowing lines, but they have even more control now, and there's no one to stop them from taking the teeth out of an event's identity. Scores were so low, the course was so soft, and there was a real belief that the tour was seeking birdies and making the course more friendly. The rough was shorter, the greens were softer, the fairways were softer.
Data.
Yeah.
Data doesn't lie. Data golf. That's great. I was getting firsthand intel from people on the other side of the moat saying, "Oh yeah, that department is just it's a terror squad." PGA Tour championship management.
All right. One thing they did do right, PJ should have the image of this. Justin Rose hit a shot from the wrong side of the fence.
Yes.
This was celebrated because he just didn't get a drop from a relief fence. It was
it like a temp fence, like a
netting fence that he hit a shot from the other.
There he is.
He chipped out, then got up and down.
Look at the screened-in porches. Beautiful. PGA National screened-in.
This is SH Kim could have clearly played from the other side of the fence in Mexico. All.
Yeah. So this was just a big high time for fences in the PGA Tour, and whether or not you got relief from them. So Justin Rose here plays from the other side, chips out, then gets up and down for par. So incredible par. All right, Monday, we're gonna kind of go back here. That's it really for the Cognizant. To be completely honest, a lot of other stuff.
Really?
Happened. Yeah, lots of other stuff.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe I have a few other ones.
No,
I don't know.
care.
This is where
I have a few other visual aids.
Well, this is where my organization kind of hit sputters. I go a different direction. Come back.
No, this is not a linear exercise. It's just notes thrown on a page.
Monday was the Rory, Homa, Rose, and Lexi match, and there was one other participant. Do you remember the other participant in the match?
Oh.
Just nonstop. Nobody asked for this participant. Wasn't on the billing.
DJ Khaled?
Yes. He was everywhere during this match. Obnoxious. Honestly, held the event hostage. And maybe that's what's to blame, but it was all-time low ratings for this iteration of the match. I think Lexi was the big winner. From the match, she actually seemed pretty personable and was really good with the mic. So Rory, I think won with the skins on the last. He hit a great wedge shot on 18 or the last hole. Yeah, it was 18 to win a bunch of skins in the match. But the one thing that made rounds on Twitter was Rory, the reporter, touched him on the shoulder and he had this weird flinch.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah. It was like a shock or something, right?
I don't know what happened there, but I think we're still unsure what exactly happened there.
It was clearly like an electric shock that jolted him.
You think so?
Yeah. This is the dumbest social media moment.
Just get into the weeds here. Zapruder film. What actually happened?
I think there was some static, and she shocked him when the sweater hit his shoulder. Forgot about this though. God.
All right,
people need a hobby.
Now, right after this match, one of the all-time favorite quote machines came out of the woodwork while in Jeddah. It was actually an Australian Golf Digest article. Taylor Gooch, our buddy, argued that if Rory McIlroy, this was a quote, if Rory McIlroy goes and completes his career Grand Slam without some of the best players in the world, there's just going to be an asterisk. It's just the reality. That's the quote.
Say that again. There's an asterisk if he wins.
If Rory goes and completes the Grand Slam, so if he wins the Masters without some of the best players in the world, and when he says this, without some of the best players in the world, what he means is without me there.
Yeah.
There's just going to be an asterisk. It's just the reality. This is a great tweet from Kevin Casey, who found his Wikipedia page had been doctored, and every single win had an asterisk on it because Rory McIlroy was not in the
That
field.
is so good.
Incredible.
I
find
forgot
by
about
Kevin
the
Gates.
asterisk comment. People reheated that all season, all summer, essentially. I forgot about that. They doctored his Wikipedia page. Rory not in field. Asterisk on every win in Talor's career.
Incredible.
Oh, Talor. God, he's not the sharpest knife in the block. He's really been revealed as such.
So Rory gets asked about this in this press conference, and he says, "And the asterisk, look, the Masters is an invitational, and they'll invite whoever they think warrants an invite. I think to be fair to Talor, if you read the entire
Probably
the
didn't pronounce
question,
it like that.
no, he said Taylor.
I think Rory was really magnanimous in his response.
Oh yeah,
right? Wasn't he really
super
tempered?
magnanimous.
It was
Yeah.
just a meatball he just let go over the middle. Didn't take his
The
point.
question and then the answer. It's not as if he came out with that. I feel whoever did the interview led him down that path to say that. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there a little bit. He just agreed with what the interviewer asked. So the interviewer just walked him down there like you could walk a kid into an answer.
Some guy in Jeddah? Wasn't this in Jeddah?
I think it was before. It was an Australian Golf Digest article.
Okay.
So then Rory goes on. This is, I think, where he threw Talor a little bit under the bus. He goes, at the same time, Joaquin Neiman got an invite, and I played with him a few weeks ago in Dubai, and he just went down to Australia and won. He was in Oman last week. He has been chasing his tail around the world to get to this. Play his way into August, or show Augusta, or show enough for him to warrant an invite. I don't know if that could be said. The same can be said for Talor. Yeah. And remember, Talor was complaining. Didn't he not show up to his U.S. Open qualifier?
He's not. I don't think he's done anything. I don't think he's done any non-live event. Maybe some international series. Maybe.
So, all right.
I mean, that was a good response from Rory. I forgot about that.
It was Jeddah week, which means we get the return of Anthony Kim.
Just wait for Jeddah. Okay.
Anthony Kim. So this is a Friday tweet. Anthony Kim last won on April 4th, 2010. This was before LeBron James announced the decision. The St. Louis Rams selected Sam Bradford with the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Sam Bradford.
Wow.
This was before Instagram launched.
Sure.
And before Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas graduated high school. He released a video, quote, "Hello, haters. I'm back." I posed the question.
No haters.
Who were the haters? And you had an incredible response.
Oh, yeah. Bob Allenby.
Robert Allenby.
He was a hater.
Oh, total AK hater.
Legit hater. He got his comeuppance, though, on the sidewalk. Someone sent us a picture recently of Bob Allenby on a plane traveling in first class with his own logoed polo. He has his own logo still. Yeah. I didn't share it because it seemed like kind of a surreptitious photo, but yeah, he's got his own logo, Bob Allenby.
Did you take the soundboard away from me, PJ?
Are you locked in?
Oh, I must not be. I was going to
do the people are going to be happy about that. They said you're out of control.
No way.
Just kidding.
People were like, Andy is drunk on power with the soundboard. You got to take it away from him. Got a lot of those reactions.
Well, I don't have it tonight. So Greg Norman on the signing of Anthony Kim. This is a great quote. When I think of Anthony Kim, I can't imagine a more perfect fit for what we're trying to do.
What does that mean? Seems like sort of a.
I mean, especially in retrospect, looking back.
Seems like sort of a self-own.
Just a little.
He wore like a baggy t-shirt and long shorts in the first practice round. Everybody was like, oh, look, he's back. His swing. Everybody's doing swing analysis. You were wondering why there were what's in the bag articles about what's in Anthony Kim's bag. We found out like he didn't even have clubs that were fit.
Need to go to club champion.
On top of that, it was a sign that he had not at all up to date with the rules of golf or like the changes. He dropped from the shoulder height, had to re-drop from the knee. BC ball hot takes on Twitter.
Okay.
This is just a shotgun start tweet. It's exceptionally funny that Andy's hashtag just wait for Jeddah bit is culminating in the prodigal son returning. Just like we've always said, Andy and Brendan are innovators. Years of mocking just wait for Jeddah actually came true.
That was the great return after 10 years of
PJ, do you have KVV's tweet? So everybody's excited. Everybody's excited about watching this event. People are actually staying up to watch AK at Jeddah. KVV tweets, me, I'm thinking about tuning in to watch Anthony Kim. Live, awesome. Download the CW app. Me, when is he on? Live, 3:15 Eastern. Me, oof. He on TV later? Live, not till Saturday. Me, can I record Friday? Live, I'm sorry. It's an app. Me, wow, thanks for growing the game.
That is a good dialogue. The big unveiling, 3:15 on an app that you can't record Eastern time, American audience. The only people who've really been aggressively asking for him back, or haters, I guess, too, I suppose.
Maybe it was on at this time because it was ugly, as everybody expected. I mean, there were some people that were like, he's going to shoot 65. I was like, no, he's not going to shoot 65. He might play a good round here and there over the course of a season, but you can't take yet 10 years off golf. Seemingly viscerally abuse your body and your brain and come back and be a top level golfer. It just doesn't work. Sports don't work that way, and golf doesn't work that way. Anthony Kim might have been hiding himself by launching here at Jeddah, being at 3:15 Eastern. Fair. He had a shank, a cold top. The shank was really special. And he finished DFL, which was expected. I mean, anybody that didn't expect that, I mean, we had Ernest, I guess we could call him golf journalists, doing like full breakdowns of here's shot by shot in the weeds. It's just engagement farming. AK, just like Liv was doing the same thing. Everybody's using AK for engagement.
But I mean, everybody's been waiting for this for 15, whatever it was, 10 years, and then what was ridiculous was we weren't there were no questions. Where you been? Well, it was we're going to talk about this later. It's for a documentary, right?
Yes,
it'll all come out in the police, all in the police report, essentially.
Let me get to your newsletter piece. This is it was a high times for your newsletter writing here. Right. Liv Jeddah felt as pointless as you'd think, with a bunch of money changing hands in the middle of a barren desert course populated by the players, a scattering of Liv employees, and seemingly no one else. I saw Shackelford in his newsletter described the fan scene as they let in hundreds of thousands of Saudi Arabians that were all dressed as desert and camouflaged because there's nobody there. The team aspect has often yielded only ancillary drama-free side games. The Crushers crushed, and Neiman stayed hot, posting the kind of wildly low numbers rivaled only by a number of people watching in the middle of the night in the United States. And then there's Anthony Kim, more legend than tour pro at this point. Surely a mystery about where he's been the last 12 years, and the company lust for his return will put some life into this drowsy year of pro golf. It was fascinating just to have him back on the public stage. Was it fascinating to watch him play golf? Question mark. Much of the myth built over the last decade was always going to vanish once that seal was broken. The long-awaited return occurred in the middle of the night in his home country. Oh, in America, yeah, in the middle of the night in his home country, and eventually led to a last place by 11 shots. 11 shots result. There are a few clips on social media, sure, but aside from that, we saw very little promotion or reaction to him actually getting back on the course again. It had me channeling David Duval on that transatlantic flight home after finally capturing his first major. Is this it?
Yeah. It was sort of muted after so much mystery and hype and wonder. It was not the best re-entry.
Anthony
say.
Kim on the re-entry. I'm more encouraged after playing this tournament and playing like ass, really, said Kim, the word. But I'm very encouraged. I'm excited about what's coming. My game is starting to shape up. I'm doing things that I used to do before.
What? Like, okay.
All
Didn't
right.
say anything, I guess.
Let's get to Shoe Pack Corner. Shoe Pack. Just
Star.
roll the tape.
AK, by the way, did have a T37 at the Cutter event. So maybe his game is coming.
I think this was his first made cut. Yes.
I do think like this year he might have a chance to be mediocre. He had no chance last year.
Do you think somebody signs him? Does anybody want AK on their team?
There's some openings, no?
He's eligible to be signed by anybody.
You know what I clicked into and watched for like 10 minutes the other night, a couple nights ago?
Oh God, what?
The Magic Sticks documentary. I watched like 10 or 15 minutes of it.
I mean, documentary is not the word for that. It's a press release item, which is what all documentaries are nowadays. Total control.
Nobody needs that much Ian Poulter in their life. Is all I'm gonna say. If anybody's interested in watching it, I was hoping for more Westy, but I didn't get to the point.
All
right,
Magic Sticks documentaries.
All right, shoot back, Webb. Do you want the Webb or the Zinger article first? Which one do you want first?
Let's go Zinger.
All right.
I tell you, Adam. I
mean, this was an incredible interview. And there was a little bit of foreboding of the future in this interview.
Look at PJ.
All right, I'm just going to read. This is from Shoot Pack's Golf Week interview with Zinger. His mind is miles away from the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches, which should have been the start of a 4 straight weeks in his home state, calling out whoever might be choking his guts out on the PGA Tour for MPC. But in November, the network elected not to renew his contract, ending his 4-year stint as its lead golf analyst. And then in parentheses, NBC Sports declined to comment for this story. Instead, Azinger's been hanging on his boat, fishing frequently, and getting ready to get his quote-unquote elbows dirty, partnering with Fried Straka Global Golf Course Design to build the new Riverside Mayaka Golf Club.
Mayakama? Is it?
No, it's Mayaka. No. Mayaka Golf Club in Mayaka City, Florida.
Yeah.
There's always something to do. Watch the wheels of your car, he says during a phone conversation on Sunday. It's
what?
Not
Wash the wheels of your car was the first thing he went to on the to-do list? I don't think I've ever washed the wheels. Do people do this a lot? I mean, I know people get into like buffing their car and really taking care of. Washing the wheels is like item 2000 on my to-do list. There's always stuff to do. That's the first thing you went to.
It's not too bad, and I'm not looking for a job either. I've had 2 full careers. I've played the tour for 30 years. I've broadcast for about 18 years. I'm enjoying my life right now. I didn't know I could enjoy it this much. I'm serious. I wake up with no schedule. It's weird, and it's nice. And before he can be asked the obvious follow-up question he asks, I'm not missing golf in any capacity at all as a broadcaster. It's hard work to be an analyst. It's always stress and pressure. So I don't really miss it that much. I just don't like the way it ended. So on the NBC fallout, they offered me the job. We had weeks. The amount of days. Essentially, I was going to be on the road for 2 more weeks, and I wasn't going to make the same amount of money. So we're making a counteroffer. So they wanted 2 more weeks. They offered him the same amount. He makes a counteroffer. Azinger was seeking a 1-year renewal, which would line up contract talks with that of lead announcer Dan Hicks, whose contract expires at the end of 2024. Dan and I already talked about it. I was ready to keep going. I thought I was going to go for 5 more years, to be honest. I thought I would do at least 1 more year, then sign a 4-year deal. They made the offer. My agent said, no, we'll counteroffer the next day. And they said, sorry, we're moving on. It wasn't a conversation with me like, what do you need, Zinger? What do we need to do? Here's our situation. This is why we need you to accept this deal. There was no reason. It was just, it's complicated. It's complicated. I was like, how complicated can it be, bud? It's money.
Was Bud in the interview?
Yes.
In the transcription?
Yes. That's what he said. All right.
God.
You want him unloading on Sam Flood?
Sure.
Sam
Flood.
Flood.
The real revelation, like, I will take washing the wheels of your car with jumping in puddles for the rest of my life. That's his go-to. Sure.
That's what he was doing. Sam Flood was he's the head of NBC Sports.
Yeah. Golf.
So this is him on Sam Flood. Sam Flood came in and was just an a-hole about it. All we were doing was making a counteroffer, and they said, no, that was take it or leave it. And I said, Sam, was that presented to us as take it or leave it? It's complicated, Zinger, he said. I talked to him for 23 to 24 minutes, and every time I would ask him a question, it would be like, are you upset or something? We had the parameters of a deal done. Are we not supposed to negotiate with you? And he wouldn't say anything. It was like, nope, we're moving on. There was never anything like, Zinger, this is all we can do. This is our best shot. My poor manager, he's sitting there like, what happened? That's how it went down. We just wish it would have ended differently because honestly, I'm kind of happy it ended. All right, in the same interview.
Now he's back on their air. He's calling him an a-hole, and they have no power over it.
I mean, this is an incredible interview.
Bud, I just like the whole thing. Whatever. This is 2 years ago at this point. Ended 23. The truth has to be somewhere in the middle. It's so confusing. Just like they're haggling over weeks, and all of a sudden it's done. They have NBC's caught with their pants down for a whole year. The whole thing's bizarre. Go ahead.
Zinger on Pro Golf. The best players aren't all playing PGA Tour events. That's over. Suddenly the Live Tour, let's just say it like this. The PGA Tour has fast become the qualifier for Live, and it's a sad day for golf. Yeah, I've watched a little bit, and I'm not missing it that much. I'm not missing it at all on the broadcast.
Yep.
Well, there was no plan going forward except to make the broadcast less expensive, Azinger says. I think they're going to settle on whatever is less expensive. Everything since I got there was just budget cut after budget cut. Everything was to make the broadcast cost less expensive. We went from having towers to all in the same booth. We eliminated a couple of drones. Occasionally you lose the airplane or the blimp. Then you lose the speed shots. That one big camera that covers the ball, from the tee as it flies over water. They're just going to pour all their money into the players. The final bit on the tour here. We'll end it here.
Zinger just dealing.
That's half the reason that Zinger has no interest in calling the PGA Tour. Here's the other half. I don't want to get into it too much hot water and make big headlines or anything, but the best players aren't on the PGA Tour. They're scattered all over the place, and that's a sad day that's similar to what happened to tennis. The best players are going to be at the four majors just like tennis, and it's unfolding right before our eyes. I'd rather call the Senior Tour than the PGA Tour, to tell you the truth. I'm over the PGA Tour. To call the best senior players in the world, at least they're the best.
And here we are. This was March. We're now in December. The prophecy foretold.
Sometimes, I believe in the power of manifestation. You just say things out loud enough, and sometimes they happen. Zinger
Doing
nailed
Champs
it.
Tour next year. After on the network the guy runs, he just called an a-hole in this interview. 9-10 months later, he's back, and the guy has no control.
Should we try and get you an interview with Zinger to talk Champs Tour in the off season?
I mean,
Seems like
yeah,
good content.
I'd do it. I would be completely overwhelmed, but I'd do it.
The first question has to be about washing his car.
Well,
washing his tires, not his car.
His
His
wheels.
tires.
The wheels. And then I was eyeing some items in his auction. I wanted to see if maybe he could sell me anything just straight up, so I don't have to pay the buyer's premium. But we'll see.
Are you a big memorabilia collector,
I
PJ?
am. Yeah.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
So you were pretty happy about your Champs Tour haul.
Oh yeah, no, legitimately, that was great. That was fantastic stuff.
All right.
Oh, that was a good interview.
Webb was interviewed by Shupak also, and we'll just check in on what they were thinking about the PIF and deal and everything. Here's Webb. I have other players on tour texting me, calling me, seeing me at tournaments, and saying, "Hey, where are we at with that PIF deal? Where are we at in growing our equity as equity owners in the PGA Tour? We're not going to be able to get around the fact that this equity, though it's great, is an amazing opportunity for us players. That equity is worth more, in my opinion, if golf has more stability in terms of where all the great players are playing. Meaning we all need to be playing together, not against each other or on two tours like this. On live players coming back. That's where I scratch my head, because somebody's going to lose here. Somebody's going to have to lose for us to solve this problem. Still remains the case. Nobody wants to lose.
God, that was bad. Shoot back corner.
Guys just like flat out aren't getting starts. The Korn Ferry Tour grads.
Mm-hmm.
Brent Lee had an article through this week's Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches, the 9th event on this restructured PGA Tour schedule. Over a dozen of these grads have gotten into just 3 tournaments on their priority numbers. Understandably, those players are quite frustrated. They're going to tell you to play better, and I hear you. I do. But you can't play better if you're not in the field, an anonymous player told Golf Channel.
So it's bad.
Bad.
Small field, Siggy
So
events.
they added some spots at some smaller fields.
Yeah.
Right this week
Valspar,
too.
Yeah.
So they expanded some fields just because they were like, oh,
Right.
this is not going well. We have to get these guys.
The last 2 or 3 years of your interviews, they're just making shit up on the fly, literally like week to week. Like, oh, well, we just created a hole over on this side of the boat by plugging this one, and then they just bounce around.
PJ, get the highlight reel from the Honda ready on the live. I'm gonna go to Victor Hovland. This is from Shackelford's newsletter on the state. Yeah, it was the putting. The putting.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Victor Hovland on the state of professional golf and golfers. Not to dog on a tournament here or there. You could put the purse of the John Deere Classic to $6 million for first place, but I'd much rather win a Memorial or a tournament like that because of the history and course, etc. You're going to have those memories of winning that event, seeing your name on that trophy. That's pretty cool. Obviously, the paycheck is nice as well, but that's what you're remembering at the end of the week. That feels a little bit soulless, in my opinion. So just cutting at the core of this. Tom Dietrich, University of Illinois great, one of the great putting displays of our time.
Oh, I forgot about this.
This is incredible. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3.
Oh no. That third one was 6 inches.
4, 5 putts. 5 putts from about 4 feet.
Is that Steven Yeager there, just like uncomfortably, like
Yeah.
kind of twirling his golf ball, waiting to put it down on the mark? That's tough.
I remember I tweeted something like, "This is what they teach you at Illinois," and some former Illinois golfer really got mad at me. And
oh god, yeah, they wouldn't take that well. I lost the context.
Completely lost the context. I was like, I went to Illinois.
You're a booster.
Yeah. This is Shinnecock in the Shinnecock U.S. Open and U.S. Women's Open in consecutive weeks gets announced. Ben Coley
tweet about that.
Ben Coley tweet. Great tweet here. They just did a big announcement on the TV about something happening in the year 2036.
Oh God.
Tom Kershaw reported for the Times UK that Live Golf is in secret settlement talks with the PGL, with a final deal expected to be in the 8 figures. Feel good for Andy Gardner there. There was like an NLU Spittin' Chicklets beef that involved DJ Khaled in some way. I didn't spend the time to get to the bottom of it, but I just found that humorous.
What a mess.
Mad Libs.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's like
Khaled was terrible in that. He was just so bad.
So bad.
Just dive bombing in with nonsense. Like
there's an incredible story in the Irish Independent about this guy Joe Lyons. I'm sorry, I'm going long. I didn't expect this to be this long. But Irish golfer Joe Lyons forced to throw in the trash Spanish seniors trophy as Ryanair refuses to bend rules.
Forgot about this. He's flying Ryanair. Those are like flights for $15.
I'm sending you this, PJ. If you could get that photo of the trophy up. So Galway's Joe Lyons was flying high after winning the Spanish Seniors Amateur Open on Sunday.
I forgot about this. They wouldn't let him board.
I got an ad playing. I can't even hear. It's blowing me up here.
Irish Independence.
Yeah, Irish Independence bombing me with an ad.
Live television.
Ryanair refused to allow him to bring it home in the cabin. So Lyons, who's the reigning Irish Seniors Close Championship, closed with a 5 under 67 to come from 3 behind him when the Spanish Seniors Amateur Open by 4 shots. He headed to the airport for his flight home to Cork with his wife Vera, but as neither of them could fit the silver cup in their hand luggage, he was forced to leave it at the gate to be binned. I like that word. To be binned later by staff. We got to check out, and we had our hand luggage with us, and I had the trophy. So I went up to the desk, and the staff said we couldn't board with the trophy unless we could put it in our hand luggage. Vera tried to put it in her hand luggage. She actually got it in a good bit of the way, but the zip on her luggage wouldn't close.
This is ridiculous.
They said, no,
it's gonna be fully zipped.
You have to be able to close all the zips. So I said, you know what, folks? Just leave it there. If that's the way you want it to be, you can keep it. I kind of threw the toys out of the pram a bit. And the woman behind the desk said, well, we can't keep it. So I said, well, do what you want.
On display at this.
She said,
random airport.
We'll just be throwing it in the bin. So I said, well, throw it in the bin then. I'm going home. And I headed down the gangway.
I mean, this is sort of a get what you pay. Like, this is flying Spirit Airlines of Europe. You kind of get what you pay for. It's not going to be a smooth process. This was a great SGS story that we uncovered. Guy's throwing his trophy out because he's on Ryanair. I forgot about the fully zipped details.
It was a disappointing end to a memorable week for the former West of Ireland champion Lions, who have become one of Irish amateurs golf's leading senior players over the last 12 weeks. It wasn't a trophy I had to give back, said an exhausted Lions after a flight home and long drive back from Cork to Galway. It was a replica to each winner. It's just I think Ryanair should be called out for it.
I mean, Ryanair doesn't give a what about being called out for anything. As long as the planes don't crash, everything else is good.
I am so happy I'm off that website. It was just bombing me.
Crushing you.
Irish off medicine ad over and over while I was reading that. It would stop for 15 seconds.
Autoplay.
Just come back in.
Oh, we're live here.
It was very loud when I went to go get that screenshot.
It was terrible.
Cough.
Did I say the ATP announced a partnership with Saudi Arabia this week?
No, you didn't.
I don't remember
that happened.
That now.
BP, you went to a Wizards game and tweeted the Jordan Poole experience in person
yeah.
is just as riveting as seeing Steph.
That was crazy. He was
And
a disaster.
I ran a marathon this week.
You did.
Still haven't got my 26.2 sticker.
You got to get that. Put it on the back of your e-bike.
Running a marathon right before going to Ireland for a golf trip was a bad decision.
That came up in my research for the next week. So, you good? You done with Cognizant? Austin Eck wrote Monday finish. I couldn't read the weather report.
I got into this. I thought this was going to be like a 45-minute research, and it took me like 2 hours because of those interviews.
Oh yeah, Zaner and
AK coming back.
Yeah, that happens. If you're coming back from the holiday break, now is a good time to subscribe to the Shotgun Start Blend. You go to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Use the promo code. What's our promo code? God damn it, I always forget this one. Is it shock? No, it's SGS. SGS. We've only been doing this for 10 months now. SGS. I'm gonna throw something in off the cuff. I decorated my tree today. I had a productive off season of ornament procurement. I had 2 from the Masters, 1 from a golf course, 1 from the US Open. My wife says we got too many damn golf ornaments. I'm going to send an unused, fresh Masters ornament, little Smathers and Branson needlepoint deal for a Good Walk subscriber. This is off the cuff giveaways. We're just giving away Chaplin bags. We got 20% off in the pro shop. It's a good ornament. It's a great ornament. You use it around Christmas time. I suppose you could use it another time. But I broke out the ornaments. I was like, God, I maybe got too many. So we have too many masks. I'll throw one in. You got to be a subscriber to Good Walk Coffee. We'll pull the name on, let's say Thursday.
Man, all these giveaways.
Thursday of this week, whatever that is, the 4th or 5th. Pull the name, and I will drop ship it from my personal location in Maryland to you, and you'll have a nice little Masters ornament. But you got to subscribe to Good Walk, Shotgun or Fried Egg Blend. Go to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Use the promo /shotgun. Use the promo code SGS. You get 20% off your entire order, and then you get 10% off on your recurring orders. Hey, subscribe for a day, and maybe you get an ornament out of it. You hoodwink us.
Who wants an ornament? Who wants your ornament?
I mean, Christmas, spirit. People full of Christmas spirit. It's a good ornament. Are you jamming me? I'm giving you. It's like $25 out of my own pocket to buy this needlepoint ornament.
I would ask the question when you ask if somebody's jamming you, that you need to ask yourself, am I jamming you or are you jamming yourself?
I need 20%
off.
That is always the question.
It's a classy ornament. They'll make your tree look better this time of year. People are into that this time of year, I'm told. Let's go to the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Puerto Rico Open. So we get to Arnold Palmer, next signature event. This is
the week of this is the week where they do the walk-ups to the players. It's not API week.
Yeah, it's out of disrespect for Mr. Palmer, essentially. So then we've had a bad year on tour. This is like the year of lawn shots winners so far. Chris Kirk was 201. Grayson Murray 400 to 1. Nick Dunlap was 300 to 1. Pavon 125 to 1. Nick Taylor, like all these guys. Jake Knapp 50 to 1. Hideki Eckroat 100 to 1. Just like launch shots. I'm not saying bad winners. It's just been so we get to Bay Hill. Normally, have been coming in on a high with a lot of, stuff to chew on, and there just hasn't been a lot. So what do we start Bay Hill a week off with? More board announcements. Just getting in the weeds with the new board, PGA Tour Enterprises. We got Ogilvy comes moving in, clearing people out of the paint. Joe Ogilvy joins Tiger Woods and the 5 other players on a 13-member board for PGA Tour Enterprises. There were 4 SSG director, Sam Kennedy and John Henry. I just don't want to read off names all day. Monahan becomes CEO. Woods appointed vice chairman. The chairman of the new board will be decided at the next meeting. But there's also Monahan's added, as is Ogilvy, to the PGA Tour board, the non-enterprises board, the old school board, the original board. So that has 14 members, including President John Lindare. Joe Gorder is named, served on both boards. So the player directors are still Webb, Adam Scott, Spieth, Woods, Cantlay, Malnati. They stay the same. They also join the Enterprises board. This is just this long sort of Byzantine, meandering press release about we now have 2 boards. We have vice chairman, Tiger, sort of a perpetual spot. Jay Monahan is now like CEO. And Joe Ogilvy comes in, apparently is like really a liaison for the player side of things. So he's more of a player's point of view. And so it's just like, this is like multiple pages press release. It's non-golf. The golf has sucked. It's been all these launch shot winners. It's been just like really underwhelming. Weather sucked, right? But, Pebble, Phoenix, Monday finish at Honda, just been bad. And it's just like another like really long, this whole thing is being restructured. And these are the board seats for Enterprises. And here are the 4 SSG guys and all this. And Fried Egg tweeted on June 6, 2023. So again, this is like early March 24. The PGA Tour sent out a long press release in which it announced a new commercial entity whose board of directors would, among others, include representatives from the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and PIF. Exactly 9 months later, this board is 4 SSG guys: Joe Ogilvy, Tiger Woods, in perpetuity. It's just like, this was June 23rd. It's going to be a mix of Euro, PIF, PGA Tour, and that just got nuked off the face of the earth. And we've got another PGA Tour Enterprises board, separate deal. So it's all, kind of fly by the seat of your pants deal going on.
I think the best strategy is when you're struggling to move forward on something is add more people to the mix. That's always a good strategy.
It's just, I have like a page of notes on just the board announcement, but I'm not going to bore us with that. You and I are recorded on this Hit This News from an airport lounge, like phone booth, the United Polaris Lounge phone booth, before we literally got on a red-eye to Dublin. So we had to be kind of like, couldn't be screaming in the phone booth with other people, fancy people trying to eat their caviar or whatever it was. This was funny. Start Bay Hill week, primo event, right? Signature event, costs a lot of money to sponsor, all this stuff. The Monday Pro-Am participants get completely jammed because of the Monday finish at Palm Beach. God. So they're like pulling guys off. Whoever's like got a scratch handicap. I think that may be. If you have like a scratch handicap in the Orlando area, you're suddenly a pro in the Pro-Am. Like,
Dameron played in it,
I think
right?
Dameron, who's a Bay Hill resident, they're just pulling guys in because everybody's still at Honda doing finishing. So the Pro-Am participants, and Mondays, not the biggest spenders, but still not nothing. They get jammed because of the Monday finish. News this week that Liv is withdrawing its OWGR application. People are like, what does that say about the rankings? What does that say about the league? We're just done. There's a lot of people claim they're just, we're taking our ball and going home. Like, you're not even going to let them, you're not even going to keep fighting or changing or try to apply or try to like come to some agreement. They just withdraw the whole application. Haven't really heard anything more about that. Mike Weir comes out on March 5th and says LIV players will not be on the international team.
You needed to do that then.
March 5th for a late September match play, which just takes the wind out of the sails of that. Like, totally unnecessary. Just self-sabotage so early in the process. Who knows what could happen between March and September? Like we just talked about, a whole new board structure came in about 8 months. You never know. So yeah, Jay Monahan has a big title again. Does this shit matter anymore? Do we have any faith in this being the actual final arrangement? Probably not. I mean, the PIF's going to now invest, right? Or if they do, new board structure, who knows? LIV is going from Jeddah to Hong Kong, playing a 6,700 yard course there. We're just like getting reports from they're just going to feast on this.
Didn't they play wasn't Vegas like 6,800 yards
it's
too?
Short because it's that old school. I think it's Country Club Las Vegas. I could not. Oh, there was a big toasty tale. I don't know if you found this, PJ, from the Puerto Rico Open. I couldn't find it. We get these toasty tales and they kind of go into a lockbox where you need a special code and we never get them back.
You have to re-listen to the episode to get them.
There was a big fight over where a ball crossed the hazard, I think, and he went nuts. And we'll get to that at the players. But I think Toasty got really up and he said, "No, this is where it crossed." Said, "F you, I'm going to play it." That was the Puerto Rico Open Toasty tale. Scotty Scheffler's putting starts to get hot at Bay Hill. He's got the mallet going. And, Joseph LaMagna was on site for this. And we just talked about how Bay Hill is sort of an abomination of a golf course. Just LaMagna wrote something along the lines. It's just trees, water, and grass. There's really no strategy, no skill, nothing really that's being tested. This is after 3 days. Like, I came in with an open mind, but it's worse. The course is dead flat. All the questions asked of players are exactly the same. Every shot is launched straight up in the air or hacked out of rough. Very little creativity is required. The golf course is truly just grass, ponds, and some trees. He spent 3 days. He's like, I came in with an open mind. It's terrible. Comparing it to Muirfield Village, which he likes. What else happened here? Shane Lowry gets a sponsors invite, which we're still doing sponsors invite at signature events. And the veil's down on that one. He comes out, he says, "Well, I'm very fortunate. I built up a great relationship with MasterCard over the years, and I'm an ambassador. So yeah, very fortunate to get an invite that way. I'm obviously happy to get the invite, and hopefully I can take advantage of it now." He did take advantage of it, played great. And it's just like all these ads as they show Shane Lowry and MasterCard gear all throughout the week. And it's just, why are we doing this? He wasn't eligible. He didn't qualify for a signature event, but we're doing sponsors exemptions. That had people worked up, who were on the border of Aon 10 and all this stuff. Wyndham has a big rules issue. I don't know if you remember this. Big drama on 18. So this was Scotty wins, Wyndham second. This happened at Bay Hill. Scotty wins at Players next week. Wyndham second. I think it's the first time ever in PGA Tour we've had back-to-back 1-2 finishers. But Wyndham's like hot at Bay Hill, and he mashes the shit out of his lie on 18. Left rough 18. This was, I think, Saturday. Big deal. The ball moves or didn't.
We were watching this in a bar. We were watching this at
in Ireland, or
I think we were in Portrush at this point.
We might have been.
No, we were in Newcastle. We were at that. What was that bar called? The
one on the corner there.
Yeah, it was.
I guess they're both. I mean,
it was like a party. It was.
Oh yeah, we felt old really fast. Like,
yeah,
I'm not in my 20s anymore.
We were in the back of that bar. We were in the back part of the bar.
I didn't remember it. I couldn't
watching this. I remember this.
That place was hopping. That was so old.
There was like a retirement party in the back, and then the front. It was like 18-year-olds.
Yes. So Wyndham Clark smashes the ball down, a lie, and they're like, "Oh, the ball, like, did it oscillate? Did it move? Like, it didn't move enough." But then they're like, "Did he improve his lie? Like, set aside like whether the ball moved or not. He just like created a tee, and like, did this really happen?" Mark Disbabic, rules official on the air, said to Dan Hicks. Dan, that makes my heart flutter as well. For a ball to move, based on the definition, it has to go to a different spot. It can move. So long as it comes back to its original spot, it technically hasn't moved. So when we watch this tape, it looks like it's come back to the same spot. But Hicks, solid follow-up question from Dan Hicks. What about improving the lie? So really like the substantive question.
Yeah.
I know, Dan, that it looks bad, that maybe he's trying to prove the area of his intended swing. It doesn't look like there's enough there, Duspavic said. A player is allowed to ground his club with the weight of the club against the ground, so that basically what he's doing right there. Feels ball didn't move and affect his stroke. Faxon, Luke Donald are both in the tower for this. It certainly didn't look like it was just the weight of the club, Faxon said. It wasn't good looking. Donald, he needed to be a little more careful with that club. He was laying up anyway, so what was the advantage of trying to improve the lie? Wyndham Clark, like people are crazy about this. It was close up, popping down, mashing down. Quote, Wyndham, I'm not cheating or anything like that or trying to prove my lie. Obviously, I zoom in and it makes it look worse. We all talked about it. Scotty, the rules official, didn't mind, didn't think it moved. So fortunately, that a penalty didn't happen. So yeah, it just said the committee agreed the ball wobbled but returned to its original spot, so no penalty. Again, that's sort of like not the substantive issue at heart, right? Does the ball, it's about like changing really the lie and teeing it up for you. Brandel hot, even Brandel comes out firing, says, I respectfully disagree with the rules officials. I would respectfully disagree with Wyndham Clark. The ball clearly moved. Clearly didn't ground the club lightly. I don't need video to see this. I saw it live. I knew the ball moved. I think he should have been penalized. So yeah, he's popping it up there. That was a big thing on Saturday that carried over even into Sunday, as you would expect on Twitter. Liv's Hong Kong event covered with a focus on AK, who shoots 65. This was bad. He still finishes, I think, DFL, but he shot 65, and you're like, all right, can he make some birdies, right? Can he make, he figure out, like, we know his clubs aren't fit. He's dropping for shoulder height. He also didn't know what TrackMan was, apparently. Like, he's just like this caveman, this frozen caveman who's been unfrozen, comes out. He's just like, I don't know what TrackMan is. I don't know what it is, but he shot 65 in Hong Kong.
He had a great quote around this time about how much easier the driver is to hit now. How it just goes far and straight, no matter where you hit it on the face.
Swing. Of course, these guys have speed. You swing as hard as you possibly can without, with impunity. So, we were very excited. I totally forgot this happened. Someone made their Champions Tour debut. This is like a Mad Libs, SGS Mad Libs. Someone made their Champions Tour debut at the Dump in a Box Classic, aka the Cologuard. It was none other than OG favorite Ho-Sun Choi. Came back into our lives, his Champions Tour debut at the Dump in a Box Classic. I think he acquitted himself okay. But yes, he was there twirling to and fro at the Dump in a Box Classic. Scotty wins by 5 at the API. It's his first victory since the 23 Players Championship. So he still played great, obviously, right? Couldn't putt, like putting killing him through like a bunch of great stroke gain tee degree rounds, 23, but hadn't won. Finally wins by 5 at the API. With the mallet, puts the mallet in the bag after the Rory. I don't know if that was it, precisely, but yes, that's what everyone attributes it to. Paid immediate dividends. So after we've had this shitty Q1, like we had a pretty good setup for Sunday. This is NLU tweet. Scotty's new putter on glassy greens. This was a big subject this week at Bay Hill. One guy, I can't remember who it was, talked about, could you put stickum or tape on the bottom of your putter? Because the Bay Hill greens, I guess, get so glassy. And the rules officials are like, no, you can't do that. So we had glassy greens, crazy wins on Saturday, which were fun. Lowry trying to win on a signature event on a sponsor's exemption. Clark, is he taking the leap? Would be 3 signature events and a major in a year. Zalatoris was playing well this week. This is what you expect from a Bay Hill, right? These kind of tee to green guys, hit it high, hit it far, hit it straight, get to the green. Zalatoris, was amazing, but his putting numbers were good, and he got nothing out of it. Hideki was right there, ready to go back to back. He was in it. So we were all set up for a good Sunday, and it was. Scotty kind of boat raced the field. Oh, one other thing. We didn't have a full 70-man field. Finau just didn't play. So they had only 69 players, and it's like, really? Like, there's guys who can't get starts. We just talked about this. Can't you just bump one up? Nick Dunlap played as a solo for the first 2 days out. For like they can't finish, they can't get a full field for this. So we had and then this was the start of the cuts in signature events era. And there was a moment there during the week where it looked like 4 people would be cut from the like 4 you'd cut from 69 to 65.
That's insane
because of ties, where it didn't end up that way, but it was like 4 guys.
What's going to be
like,
the
why have a
cut rule next year?
Depends on, can we get to 100 guys? Well, we're not going to 100, but that was the thought. Like, can we just, if we're gonna have cut events for these legacy signature events like the Airfield and Bay Hill, you got to have more guys, because this looked like only 4 guys would be cut from the field. The great Matteo Manacero wins the Johnson Workwear Open on the DP World Tour.
This was
the
start.
11 years since his last win. He comes back. He wins on the DP World Tour. It says it's the best day of my life on the golf course. And he just gets hot. The year of the great Matteo's return begins.
What do you think was the best moment of Matteo's return this year?
I think going toe-to-toe, staring down Rory at Royal County Down.
So what
staring down may be a little bit too strong a term for it, but that was a highlight for me. Just great. AK's 22 over in his first 4 rounds. Live Golf. Once we had, Abe Answer blew a 5-shot lead, but wins Live Hong Kong over Cam Smith and Paul Casey. What else? Zalatoris is like finally getting back. Rory drove the 10th green at 10. He went like up and over the crowd. It's like this scary visual, like if you were in the crowd, just right up and over. That was a big moment of catnip. Like, what is that line he's taking? He just went nuclear and went on I think it trickled on the front of the green. Player's still up there. Jake Knapp made it 12 at 6, hit 2 in the water, then hit 1 OB right. I don't know, over yonder right, overcorrected. He was like line 7 when he finally was hitting what would be his second shot, so to speak. We were all set up for the Buzzy Sunday. Dominant clinical performance from Scheffler. Went crazy on the greens with his mallet. He gained 3.89 strokes in the final round. His best single round putting performances from Brentley since the Shriners. Ended the week 5th in strokes gained putting. So, the tee to green's been there. He's got the mallet. He immediately goes nuts. Full Swing released again. Netflix Full Swing 2. Don't have much to say other than it came out this week. We did our podcast. It was a good season. I thought.
A glowing review.
I don't know. It was out this week.
Came out this week. I don't have much else to say.
I'm trying looking at it like it was substantive. There was a lot of news around it.
What
do you want me? What do you want me to say?
Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
The first season I watched 3 times because it was my job to watch it 3 times. I'm gonna make a confession here. We went to Ireland when it released. I couldn't make it through it.
I thought it was a pretty good one. I thought it was better than the first season 1.
I'm sure I'm gonna watch them all at some point. I just haven't felt the need to watch them all. And
that's fair. There's some good Zatch material in there.
There is. I watched that one. I felt the need to watch that one.
Okay.
But I haven't watched all of them. I don't know. Does that make me bad at my job? Maybe it does.
I think those podcasts.
I just think it was. It's a telling thing about.
They're doing 3.
Is this why you don't think Tom Kim is an international superstar?
I watched that one.
Oh, that one sucked. That was the worst one of the season.
Yes, it was.
It was terrible. I mean, I don't know. It's just so clearly I mean, I think one of the things that I have a problem with these is it's just so manipulative. You interview someone up there for literally a 10-second soundbite about someone and there's no context around it, or you're interviewing somebody and they know that you're just looking for sound bites, and they just say a bunch of shit. you know? And I don't know. It's just, it's not very real. And I think like honestly, I think like in people that I've talked to, that's like a lot of people's sentiment is like,
Yeah.
I watched season 1 and season 2 I couldn't get into.
Yeah, I thought it was a little better than 1. More real with some of the episodes. Some of them, like Wyndham, I thought was pretty good. But anyways, we did a good podcast on that. I actually thought those chats with Joseph were some of the best we did, even if 10 people listened to them. I don't know. But what else do we have? Oh, Joaquin Neiman reported as receiving an invitation to the PGA. This is from Golf WRX. So we'd already gotten the Masters special. Gets a PGA, so we're now figuring out like, oh, is PGA just doing like, are they going to be adding live guys, which they always have kind of had their own discretion on their field. TGL's new arena will supposedly be hurricane proof. This is announced that they're actually going to make it like a steel and actual building. This is announced this week. You're still all we had before was a tent and tatters.
Proof.
Seems like a good idea given they're on the coast in Florida, but yeah. Set to begin January 2025. Eamon wrote about the board saying this shows the players aren't able to run the business while competing, but they're going to let Ogilvy sort of be the liaison there. Webb, Simpson, I don't know. Is this the one you just did? He had another interview with, I guess it would have been Shootback. So maybe this is what you just did. How do we grow our product? How do we make it better? They don't know what it looks like. What I loved was we're talking about 6 players, right? The livery integration. He's like, we're basically talking about 6 guys. The rest will have to go to Q School or if they want to do something on the DP World Tour. Is that where we're at now in December? I don't know. Like we'll take 6 guys. The rest you got to go to Q Schools. It's still like a tough question. He said, I love that he admitted like, I don't know. We as players should probably have a conversation with Yasser and figure out what it is he wants. This is March. Framework was June of the preceding year. It's like we should probably talk to him and figure out what he wants. I think that conversation should be sooner rather than later. Live caffeine numbers come in. Will Stager, chief media officer, says Caffeine TV delivered 4.5 million views for Live Golf during its tournament in Jeddah. I mean, this would be comparable to some Masters numbers. Live Caffeine numbers. 6 million views across all platforms during the course of the 3-day event. This, people had fun with that. This
caffeine. I saw caffeine on in an airport.
Yeah. I don't know how they count them, but I mean, that would make it more than a lot of majors, most majors. Happy hour with Smiley starts this week. This week at Bay Hill.
No, it started the week before.
Really? Was it at Cognizant? Okay, so NBC takes the reins. This is where.
Do you want to know the first guest?
Keith Mitchell.
Nobody's gonna get this. It's so random.
I mean, it's Cognizant. Who was it?
Paul Goldschmidt.
Like the baseball player?
What?
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't remember.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, you weren't watching fucking Cognizant on a Friday.
It's fair.
So this starts. People are fired up. People are into it. Like NBC's trying. What? What did you say?
I'm sending this as But yeah, people are fired up about Smiley's happy hour.
Yeah, the happy hour starts. It begins.
I want everybody to know where it started.
All right, fine. It began at Cognizant, but Spieth was on it this week. You got bigger names, obviously, at Bay Hill.
I don't know. Paul Goldschmidt, he's won 2 MVPs.
All right, fine.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Okay. People were into the happy hour idea.
Do you think Paul Goldschmidt is a greater baseball player than Jordan Spieth as a golfer?
No, I don't.
There you go.
No.
This is also.
I mean, where's Spieth? Like top 50 all time?
3 majors.
Probably around 40 to 50.
Yeah, 1 away from the slam. Yeah, something like that. Probably maybe a little higher than 40. There's not a lot of guys who've won multiple majors, right? I mean, I know there's a lot at the top. top 10 to 15 won a lot.
Like-
But after that, it gets to a lot of 2-time.
There
Fridays
you
with Smiley.
It got rebranded.
I don't think they ever used this animation again. I don't think I ever saw this. Is that supposed to be Smiley Kaufman? Who is
I'm
that?
kind of mad I left this out.
Just looks like some dopey. It's like create a white guy with a mop of hair. This is not Smiley Kaufman.
Well, as Zinger said, everything's about saving money.
So this is the week, Bay Hill, where the notion of cutthroat comes into our lives, and we would take and run with this for a segment for the rest of the year. Rory, I'm all for making it more cutthroat, the tour, more competitive. That probably won't be very popular for saying this, but I'm all for less players and less tour cards and the best of the best. Wyndham Clark backs him up on Saturday, a day later. I think it would be amazing if our tour was 100 guys. And I kind of said this a few times, 100 guys, we have 20 guys that all get relegated every time, every year. It doesn't matter who you are. It would be exciting. Because come down to the end of the year, people are looking who is going to win the FedEx Cup, and then you're looking at who is not going to be here next year. So yeah, I'm probably with Rory on that. I don't know what that number is, but I think it's just nice to elevate the product and make it where the best players are playing on TV more often against each other. There was some blowback to that because Wyndham was, playing the Puerto Rico Open essentially the year prior. And guys were like, hey, man, you wouldn't even have a chance to get into any of these events if you wanted to be 100 guys, 100 cards. You'd just be relegated your whole career and never would have gotten up there. There was a lot of backlash to him coming out hot like that. And on the weekend, he's mashing the rough. Lucas Glover pops back to Adam Schupak. I don't like that idea at all. It's selfish and it's a money grab. Nothing that has happened, and this is an interesting point, nothing that has happened in the last 2 years in golf, in my opinion, will help the game. It's kind of interesting to think about it on a big picture. Like all the movements, all the shit that's changed, and all, has anything really substantively helped or improved the product or the game? We'll see. It's just a question to ponder. I've yet to figure out what's so bad out here that we had to do all the things we've done. I'm 44. I'm getting towards the get off my lawn dad. I just don't see what was so bad out here that we had to do all this. Let's raise some purses to make sure we keep some guys around, but now we've eliminated a lot of playing opportunities for some really good players. Big
who
question.
Said that?
Lucas Glover.
Man, he's been outspoken. He was pissed off the other day about the cut down to 100.
He's like, what has happened in the last 2 years that has really helped the game? Tiger announces that he's out for the players. People, I guess, are surprised by this. He played Genesis or tried to, but he skips the players. Let's go to Puerto Rico Open. The notable Joe Highsmith, the bucket boy Highsmith, had
slow play, and Joe.
Nothing happened at this Open, but then Joe Highsmith shanked the shit out of a ball. I think he was leading at the time, just straight hard off the property through the palm trees, just boom, gone. He was leading.
No way. No way.
He was co-leader.
You are locked in. You've been locked in this whole time.
I just forgot where it was. I found it on my time off here.
Awful shank for Joey Highsmith. And he just bombed out after co-leading. Do you know who won the Puerto Rico Open?
Honestly, I have no clue.
We were in
Zero
Ireland.
idea. Nico.
No, we were in Ireland. Bryce Garnett beat Eric Barnes in a playoff to win the Puerto Rico Open. And the only thing from this that we learned, Bryce Garnett, it's his second PGA Tour win. Do you know what his first one is?
Did he win Kentucky?
No.
What was it?
Punta Cana. So he did the Punta Cana, Corrales, and the Puerto Rico. Just like
Island swing.
Backdoor Bryce Garnett. Just years of cards going opposite field. Those are his 2 wins. Resort Golf King.
He might be king for a player.
I think we went into that at length during this week on the podcast. So Garnett beats Eric Barnes. He's now won both Puerto Rico Open and Corrales Punta Cana. So that does it for this week. API Scotty back on the winner's circle. Dominant 5-shot lead, but just gets hot with the putter on Sunday. And boat races Wyndham Clark. Let's go to the players. The gold standard.
We're going.
Let's
We're
do
going.
it. We're gonna rip through
2.5 hour episode.
We're gonna rip through this. No.
We're gonna
So the
rip through the players. There's no way you're gonna rip
we
through
got a
the
lot.
players.
We got a lot of meat on this bone.
This
We
is an
start the
hour
week like,
minimum.
does the tagline still work? The best field in golf. Like they're still they're leaning into it. Like, is this really a thing? Is this really a thing that we're gonna just keep throwing out there? Because it's just not. Like, there's more better players at the majors for sure now because you have live guys playing the Masters and playing the US Open. It's like, but they're still doing it. The best field in golf tagline. The merch tent is open and selling a new one. You know, the turnover chains became a big thing in the last decade. And now we make it merch. Well, the players had to lean into this fad. They're selling Gold Boy turnover oversized chains
What?
that we get tagged into. We're showing this on the YouTube. Shoepack, of course, was on just the Forrest Gump of the year in review here. I had the spot.
Shoeback was everywhere.
Tagged us
Everywhere.
in. Said, I mean, who's buying this garbage? It's not. It's
I
not
think
as bad as your tournament.
PJ, would you
used
buy
hazard money.
buy that? You're a collector.
Could I expense it?
Yeah, you
Sure.
could expense that.
Then yes, I would absolutely buy a gold man chain. Are you
It's
kidding
like
me?
the chain link oversized Gold Boy on the end of it. They're selling these for, I gotta guess, like 40 or 50
I don't get
bucks.
the big chain.
I
Thing.
mean,
I
who
don't
would
get it
wear
at all.
that?
I don't
mean,
get it.
idiots who are just walking around the event.
That's unbelievable. I can't believe that I didn't know about that.
Rory, they start the week with the quote. Rory does, he didn't do a lot of press this week, but he did have to after some drops. This is like, I mean, I think this is the whole thing distilled down to one answer. I had it in video. I'll just read the transcript. How does the onus fall on players like yourself to be more open to these opportunities to be part of the fan engagement experiences? This is the whole deal. So to me, this is a problem with the members organization. Things are created for the members. Then once those things are created, you've got to go sell the things to fans, sponsors, and media. To me, that seems a little backwards. I think what needs to happen is you need to create things for the fans, for the sponsors, for the media, and then you have to go sell that to the players. Tell them to get on board with that. Because if they can get on board and we're all part of this business now, the business does better, we do better. That seems pretty simple to me. Pretty good, insightful answer on the target. This is the members organization. It's kind of backwards, right? It's Frankenstein bolted on the wrong way. Create something that appeals to the fans. He said sponsors, he said media, and then you go sell all that to the players. But what they do is we create, here's this Aon thing you really need to like and you should like. Or here's this, Comcast business that you should like and you got to be into this. And he's saying, no, create. It was just I thought, an insightful quote. How it gets done is who knows. Scotty's defending champ, so he had a lot of press. One of those was a GQ interview. Not a good look for Zach in the GQ interview. Quote in there, he said, this is from the Ryder Cup in Rome, but the interview comes out this week. Brooks and I weren't really, not prepared isn't the way to say it, but we hadn't played alternate shot before. Pretty revealing quote. After they got boat raced in Rome, comes out this week. He sort of like, God, people got to stop talking about my putting. It's ridiculous every time. So that was a GQ interview this week. Let's go to Jay Monahan's State of the Tour interview. We were in Ireland. People just, murdered Jay crushed Jay for his annual State of the Tour. I gotta say, I watched it in Ireland. I didn't think it was among his worst poor performances. I thought it was fine. There's not a lot he could say. He's sort of just kind of up there as a target. There's not much he could say, but he got destroyed. He got destroyed by people. He got testy with none other than Adam Shoepack. He got testy with Shoepack.
Well, of course, he's the man that's asking the questions.
He said, like, are you worried about more players leaving because of Rahm? And he got mad he was like, I just answered your question. He didn't answer the question. He's like, Adam, I just answered your question on where my focus is. NLU was like, that was yucky. Porter tweeted like, for somebody who takes questions 1.5 times per year, Jay Monahan's patience with the media regarding one of the most seismic shifts in the history of the sport seems pretty short. So his patience was short. He got popped for that. What else did he say? He said, "Oh, this is my favorite one. Hold on, I can't find it now. With the PIF, he says, we have a shared vision to quiet the noise and unlock golf's worldwide potential." So people are hammering him. What's the deal with the PIF? What's going on? Or is this going to happen? You know, you had AT&T guys saying we don't need at Pebble saying we don't need to do the PIF because we have a shared vision to quiet the noise and unlock golf's worldwide potential. He called the PGA Tour the quote highest expression of individual achievement in golf. Gobbledygook. Highest expression of individual achievement in golf. He believes, quote, this was substantive. He believes negotiating a deal with the PIF is the best outcome. Not everybody was saying that. He says it's early days. Early days for signature events. Yeah. They're still. What are you gonna say?
Oh, early days for signature events.
For signature events, he said Brian Harmon told him, "quote I feel a great sense of accomplishment when I'm at these events." He retold that, but it's still early days on if it'll work. But he says I'm negotiating with PIF is the best outcome. He also said, "This is what we do. We change players' lives and we change people's lives. No organization does that better than the PGA Tour." I would hope he meant golf organization because there's got to be organizations out there that change people's lives better than the PGA Tour.
Yeah, what an idiot. I mean, just stupid.
He did not answer the question if he was asked to resign. He says, we had a lot of good spirited discussions with our board members. Didn't answer that one. Well, I can't. He said, in my heart, I'm determined to move forward. I've taken full responsibility and accountability of like the blindsidedness. That's on me, but we've moved on. We've made so much progress since that point in time, and I've learned from it. I've been humbled by it. This is my favorite. Another gobbledygook. The more we can do to increase fandom, to bring our product forward in a way that is consistent with the way fans want to consume the product, and the more steps we can take to dimensionalize our great athletes. Those are all steps that we could take to grow fandom. He wants to dimensionalize our great athletes.
What's that even mean? What's dimensionalize?
More GQ interviews.
I don't know. But he did. This was a fan prioritized press conference. The fan, not sponsors, players, but dimensionalizing the athletes is to the fans' great benefit, I'm told. He talks about how he went to Saudi Arabia with SSG recently this year. We've got 144 players. They're the greatest players in the world.
Some of the greatest.
Yeah. He added, like with PIF, because this is still so hot. If we don't negotiate a deal with them, we're back in the same posture we're in. We haven't unified our game and taken advantage of this unique point in time. Scotty has his press conference. He's asked, like, what do you say to fans who say, like, this all sucks? Like, this is not going well. The product's underwhelming. He said, like, I don't blame guys for going to live, but your dissatisfaction should be all with them. Like, they're the ones who did this. Like, he came out, it's kind of as point as he gets, but he's like, I don't blame him for doing it. But, like, don't be mad. Like, if you're pissed off about the state of golf, it's those guys who left for live. And that was kind of, by Scotty's standards, pretty pointed. Xander asked about Jay. Xander, now at this point, Xander was just he was house cat Xander.
He was kidding. He was the kitty.
He was a house cat this week. A lot of narratives coming out this Sunday that were washed away later this summer. Trust is something that's pretty tender. So words are words. In my book, Monahan has a long way to go to gain the trust of the membership. I'm sure he's got the support of the board since they were in there. But for me personally, he's got quite a long way to go. So the preceding week, Rory says the tour needs to be more cutthroat. Wyndham says it should be 100 players. We launched Cutthroat Corner. Subject 1, Troy Merritt. In the players, deepest field in golf.
Expert.
Best field in golf. At the time, he was 133rd in the FedEx Cup. He was 124th in FedEx Fall. He had made one cut from January to June. Had finished like high at the Sanderson, T7, and Fortinet. His best finish that year was like in the PR Open, and he had one since the 2018 Barbasol. So we're like, why is he in this like loaded stack best field in golf? He starts 200 through 2. He's the leader. First cut through. I'm in Ireland just getting crushed. Like, you went at Troy Merritt. He heard you talking shit. He's 200 through 2. Top of the leaderboard for the first, I don't know, hour or two. And then I think he emceed. Like, the cutthroat corner came home to roost. You get ratio. You get ratioed into the earth from abroad for talking about the maintenance.
Yes.
Like PGA Tour tweets this video that's just like a billion mowers, just overseeded green grass, just a billion. And you're like, I don't think you could make golf look any more environmentally like callous and sensitive. And oh, you're putting up the Merritt.
I mislabeled it, but I had
You're fine.
First ever
Yeah.
Troy Merritt.
What idiot would question Merritt being in the field? He's number one. He's leading the championship. But you get ratioed by everyone saying, they just misconstrued it wasn't a political tweet. That they thought you were being like a soy boy or something. But
it's like, soy boy comments.
It's just dumb overkill. They've got 800 people hand mowing in this video. And they're all revving up at the same time. It's more about golf course maintenance. There's a TV graphic on Golf Channel that lists Chick Evans as the winner of the BMW 1910 BMW Championship, which I don't think was the event in 1910. Chick Evans. We get word in Ireland. So the featured group is Spieth, Hovland, and Rory are the 3-ball. And we get word that Hovland and Rory are very chatty, and Spieth is sort of put on ice. This is after, Rory took himself off the group chat. There's, kind of disagreements in the press about the point, the progress of the board. And we're just, I don't know if this unsubstantiated rumor, just somebody is saying Hovland's chatting with Rory. They're chatting the whole way around, and Spieth's just kind of on his own. Let's go rapid fire here on some of them. Matt Fitzpatrick had a driver weight issue.
This is my favorite one. This is it.
Just apparently was testing things out and had too much weight on his grip. He couldn't figure out why he was hitting it left so much. He said he was trying to match up his driver and iron set from the 20 last February, involved adding 4-gram weight to his grip. For whatever reason, I just forgot it was ever in there. And he said this was causing all the problems. Like, he immediately goes into the first round lead, I believe. He goes game busters early on. And they're like, oh, he's solved. That's all it was. He didn't have a great year after that.
No.
But this was apparently just forgot he had a 4-gram weight.
Forgot he had a weight in his club for a year and a half.
Chick Evans, 1910 BMW Championship winner. Then we have Collargate. Do you remember Collargate at 17? There's just extra fury and anger this week. I mean, guys are. It's
I remember that.
You tweeted this is spin control is no longer a skill rewarded on 17 at Sawgrass. Not to mention these guys play balls that don't even really spin. But this is maybe a low point for the tour setup and championship management, butchering 17. Like, it was really growing up to be bumper ball golf. Like, really, everybody's losing their. It might really mainstream. Joseph said it like you could see it from the scatter plot. There's just a bunch of blue dots sitting in that strip of rough. The guys are just spinning it into this bumper. So it's really fluffed up. People were irate this week. There was one at 12, which they always have a little extra there, but they were all getting hung up at 12 too on the left. On a drive, guys.
Well, this is the
right?
This course is the epitome of the tour now. It's like it's so far removed from what it opened as, and so far removed from the whole point of the golf course was to test pros and get in there. And now they've done every single thing to soften and make it more PGA Tourified.
And you're talking about
the best field in golf,
the most famous hole on the PGA Tour. It's a pretty high pro. 17, you're gonna neuter. People are so mad. Collargate, as I'm calling it. And at 12 and at 18, a little bit, but 17 was an egregious one. Ricky Fowler got really angry. You never see Ricky do this at a fan. And
Really?
he goes, "You!" Like he barely done with his follow through. Some guy they'd just been bothering him or not turn his phone off. He like screams and points at this guy, like "You!" and like points him out. Never says anything but "you" and like walks at him, which you never see from Ricky. A little bit of kismet here. A jumping frog gets in the way of Rory McIlroy. It's like bouncing around his ball in the rough, and he hits a shitty chip shot. And like ball frogs, fan just trying to get up close and personal. That was an interesting one. Adam Hadwin chucks.
Oh my
Chucks
god.
his club, like just full blown launch into. He'd never hit it in the water, I don't think, on 17. Hits it in the water on 17. Hits it in the water on 18 with the like a off the green, like a hard hook that just runs right through the green and into the water on his approach shot, and then just launches his club into the middle of the pond. Pepe Peter had a premature ace celebration on 17. It's spinning back down the hill.
What?
I don't remember this.
I mean, it was like he's walking off. He didn't go nuts. He's got his hand in the air, one up. He's walking off real cocky. I wouldn't say, like, people characterize it as a premature ace celebration. It like spun past the hole, didn't go in, but he was very like he was calling his shot a little bit in the air, according to people in Twitter. Austin Eckroat got penalized for letting the ball hang on the lip too long. Max Homa initially thought that he drilled someone. There was someone filming, so the ball comes right at him. It's like, boom, and this went super viral. But it turns out like reporting from the ground was just a tree, but everyone thought he like this on camera direct hit. That was a big viral thing. All the celebs were out. Number one pick. Who, the Pointer Brothers? I didn't have this.
I saved this just for you.
This was the first.
We were wondering where they
These
came
little
from.
Packers.
Time
All the celebs came out.
These Pointer Brothers. We would have known if we weren't in Ireland. We would have known the Pointer Brothers. This wouldn't have been such a question.
They
pulled
came
this
on my
just for
radar
you.
at the Peak Cup. The Pointer Brothers.
They invested early with Chef Min Woo.
That's why they brought
That's
him.
probably why Minwoo didn't play a lot of the P Cup, is because he was hanging out with
He was
the
hanging
Pointer
out
Brothers.
with his friends.
Making content with these little guys, these little Packers. But
Caleb,
the real celebrity,
There we
Caleb
go.
Williams, was at Sawgrass
best QB in the NFC North right there.
following Speed. That's where he was, all over Speed. Not just a guy in your franchise
that's a-
quarterback's eyes, following Speed. At the
He
Players'
probably
Day.
didn't. This was probably the championship management putting him there as a prop.
And then we get a lot of word from overseas, while we're in Ireland, that Sawgrass was just like soaked, like not like squishy to the point of like green soaked, just so soft for like unnaturally soft. We get a lot of words from that in the run up. And let's get to round one drop gates. PJ, why don't I kick to you? This is where did it cross high water mark for where did it cross Twitter with Rory getting in the mix here.
This is so Rory, not once but twice on Thursday goes into
7?
the water.
7 and 18, right?
Starts on 10, so 18 is the first one. There is I would say a less angry discussion on 18, but then on 7, so as previously mentioned, he's playing with Spieth and Victor Hovland, who we have experience with Where Did It Cross Gate in 2022.
Danny
with
Berger.
Daniel Berger and Joel Damon. Victor Hovland got very animated and kind of took a back seat, I would say, this year to Jordan Spieth, as we have the screenshot here from Brentley. So this Rory is convinced that his ball bounced over the red line, saw it come down, did not land in the water immediately, and therefore that would be where it crossed. Jordan is not necessarily as sure of that. So this goes back and forth. The PGA Tour posts an 8-minute and 15-second uncut video from the ESPN Plus live feed of just the audio from this entire situation, which is the first time. That is catnip for everybody. Everybody explodes.
People were like, credit to the PGA
Yes.
Tour. Like the bar is so low that you actually post somewhat controversial clips, and they posted the whole 8 minutes on Twitter. I remember that.
So Rory gets asked about it afterwards, about the scene on the 7th hole. He says, "I think Jordan was just trying to make sure I was doing the right thing. I was pretty sure that my ball had crossed where I was dropping it. It's so hard because there's no TV evidence, but I was adamant. But I think he was just going to make sure that I was doing the right thing. If anything, I would being conservative with it. I think at the end of the day, we're all trying to protect ourselves, protect the field as well. I wouldn't say the situation was needless. I think he was just trying to make sure it was the right thing." And then he gets asked, "Is it awkward when you have that conversation?" And he said, "Yeah, I guess I start to doubt myself a little bit, but I was comfortable, and I was just making sure that Jordan and Victor was comfortable too." So he is absolutely adamant that it bounced over the red line and fell into the water. He gets asked about what happened on 18. 18 was a pretty similar situation. Again, adamant it crossed. It's just a matter of where. I think this golf course, more than any other, it sort of produces those situations a little bit. Again, I feel like I'm one of the most conscientious golfers out here. So if I feel like I've done something wrong, it'll play on my conscience for the rest of the tournament. I'm a big believer in karma, and if you do something wrong, I feel like it's going to come around and bite you at some point. End quote.
Karma. I mean, this was did the karma come around at Pinehurst? This was super.
The whole thing was weird. Like, I remember watching it live. The whole thing was bizarre.
I don't know that the underlying thing here is what happened at earlier in the year at Pebble with the removal of the text chain, and then Spieth saying that they they didn't need Saudi money, and then them having like an hour-long conversation. This was all just like heating the oven up for this moment.
I truly don't think Rory's like, he doesn't play fast and loose with the rules, but these were I think borderline. I don't know if he knew that. I don't think he was intentionally doing it, but I mean, Hovland said very speculative, right? That Rory, he seemed uncomfortable with the Rory using the term, quote, split the difference. I think Rory that's like Rory's undoing in the trial. He said, let's split the difference. Like, no, it's like either it crossed where it did or it didn't. And so if you want to just split the this
Rory is in the lead at this point on 7.
Yeah.
Too. He is winning the tournament. He's 8 under.
Yep. And there were turtles. They were talking about turtles on the bank. And Spieth said he was hearing that eyes on it were 100% certain it landed below the red line. And Roy's like, who's saying that? And Spieth's like, TV people. It was tense. And then the red line thing, I mean, I saw a bunch of NLU tweets were like, NLU's like, I was here. There's like, no way it loaded above the red line. And I was convinced it did. It was, I don't know. We were in Ireland. It was in the moment. It seemed like a lot of people were pouncing on Roy for this.
I think it would have been, this whole thing would have been diffused on the tee if somebody else was in the group.
Roy, did it go in?
I mean, it also got to the whole point of like, it's kind of insane they don't have a more precise.
I think this is what we talked about after
adjudication system for this than leaving it to the player to guess, like really wildly guess.
It's why there should be a walking referee.
Right.
It's also why, like, it goes back to the Wyndham thing with him mashing the ball. Like, there should be a referee and be like, that is a foul. That is a penalty. What you just did. You unnecessarily improved your lie. In this situation, there should be somebody there that says, like, this is where I think it crossed. Like, the rules officials are just, I mean, if you had a walking rules official with each group, they do this like in big state amateur events. Like, if you have walking rules officials. If you did that, you could also enforce shot clocks. You could say you have 40 seconds to hit a shot. Like, this is a thing that the tour, a multi-billion-dollar organization based off their valuation, should do for its product.
Spieth and Hovland don't even talk.
No.
So Roy's just it's a one-sided account. But Spieth clearly seemed a little about it. Was just interesting theater for sure.
So Spieth talks the next day after missing the cut. He said, I thought it ended up in a good spot. I only walked over there because I thought he had dropped it, and then he was questioning where he was dropping it. So I was just trying to make sure he didn't play it, and everyone was good.
Seems like a next day cooler head political answer from Jordan Spieth.
However,
I just want to make sure it was good. Hovland, though, was uncomfortable. He said,
No.
I'm uncomfortable.
he did not like it. He obviously with his prior experience with Daniel Berger. However, this led us to potentially the golf moment of the year. Johnson Wagner chucking fastballs at the side of the 7th fairway.
This was insane. It's even crazier now. As if this is a facsimile of what happened. Guys out there just ripping balls by hand. And his conclusion that Rory was in the clear based on his unscientific experiment, right?
After throwing it at the red line 100 times and throwing his arm out. That was the conclusion.
I think I asked him at the Masters what he hit on what do you think he hit on the radar? And I think he said he might have touched 70 with one of them.
He was whipping him.
Okay. I mean, is that the ball speed? I don't know. That's coming in. Anyways, yeah, he shot 7 under 65, right? He shot 65.
Mm-hmm.
Rory did with these drops. 2 water balls. Yeah. Where did it cross through? Anything else on that? Are we good, PJ? Any other
No,
quotes?
that's all I had on that.
This is just while we're on Rory here. I mean, I think he tied the birdie record for the players. I think he had 26
he made
birdies
so many birdies
and just like tons of water balls and double. I think he finished maybe 20th. It's like kind of a crazy finish for how many birdies he was making.
Maybe that was the karma.
Yeah, maybe that was the karma. Other quick ones. Tom Kim tripled 17 and then withdrew immediately. Having completed just 8 holes, he cited illness. Played, of course, did not get done before dark on Thursday. This is a player's tradition now. Maybe this is why they're going down to 120. Resumed Friday morning. They never get done in time, pace of play. And this might be my favorite. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's why they're changing everything.
This may be my favorite nugget I uncovered. So not done before darkness. Ben Silverman, and I would like your judgment on this. Like complete hardo move within his right, normal. He did not finish. It was out there in the dark. And he picked up with a 109-yard wedge shot. He has to hold the 109-yard wedge shot to make the cut. It's getting dark. He picks up, sleeps on it, wakes up, and then just goes to range. And it's nothing but 56-degree wedges for this 109-yard wedge shot that he has to hold. He then misses the green. Doesn't even hit the green.
Pushes it way right into the rough. Does not even come close.
I mean, this is kind of there's good testimony on Silverman being a good guy. This is kind of a hardo move. It's not like a 20-foot putt. It's not like a chip in, makeable chip. 109-yard wedge shot. You're gonna go home, come back, and just try to practice a bunch of 56 degrees to hole 106-yard, 109-yard
this
shot.
Isn't Kuchar.
It's not Kuchar. That's fair. It's not Kuchar at all. I kind of like it. It's amusing content. Then he misses the green. It doesn't even hit the green.
And the poor PGA Tour making a whole highlight package for this. They're out there filming him in the dark, hitting 56s on the range, and
got to come back.
And then it's just a hard cut to this shot that's not even close, just completely setting the guy up.
That was one of my favorite nuggets. I don't know. 109-yard wedge shot. I'm going home. I'm going to work on this and come back Saturday. We get to Scotty. You have anything else anything else early days? PJ, you want to go? You want me to let me just run?
No, I have, hold on. It's actually loading in as we speak. We have so much visual aid for the players that I can't put it in all at once.
I forgot about this.
The stars were out. Ham Porter was walking with Ricky on, I believe, the Tuesday practice round.
I can't believe this is a celebrity.
I mean, the Sandlot is 30 years old. And you're going to Hambino as a walking celebrity?
Yeah.
Was Sandlot? Do kids even
you-
know what Sandlot is?
Do you think this guy paid for his ticket?
No.
You think they
Like,
just picked
you think you
Pam
write in and
Porter
be like,
out of the
I played a kid in the Sandlot movie. Will he have me out to the players? And they roll out. They probably gave him inside the ropes. It's ridiculous.
Oh, they did give him inside the ropes. This photo, a produced video by the PGA Tour, and a
Well,
follow-up Thursday tweet.
Yeah. Oh, they did. They
This
leaned
was
into the
this was a trifecta for Ham Porter.
Hambino content from Sandlot.
I think that's all I have.
Scotty wins. It wasn't clear that he would even play on Friday
Oh,
afternoon.
the neck
He
thing.
was having neck issues. He didn't
we
think he
gotta do
would.
neck.
Ted Scott, he's getting, all this content of him getting a massage in a chair in the middle of the round.
What
Ted
was
Scott
the
told
chaplain doing?
Ted Scott told his wife he didn't think they would play or finish because he was playing. He said Friday he just slapped it around to get in the house. On Sunday, then he holed out for eagle on 4, had 5 more birdies over the next 8 holes, and his competitors just kind of fell off. Wyndham Clark being the primary one. He's the 54-hole leader. Chases down Wyndham Clark, which was a unique wrinkle to Scotty's sort of 2-year run, the chase down. He went hot. Clark said he looked up at the board from 11 and said, of course. Wyndham was good, not great. There were some moments Saturday and Sunday. He chunked it into the pond on 17, like just chunked straight into the pond at 17. Said, quote, I'm not throwing John, my caddy, John Ellis, under the bus, and then kind of throws him under the bus. I'm not throwing John Ellis under the bus by any means, but it's probably a perfect sand wedge. And he thought if I nuked it, it could get on top. Kind of as we were walking to put the ball down, he's like, let's take a little off a full sand wedge. As over the ball, I kind of got to the top, and I was like, take a little off. And then I just kind of decelled and chunked it. Wasn't really a lack of focus or anything. It was just a poor swing. So, but people, while we're subject to John Ellis, people were really mad at Wyndham's putting routine, where his caddy comes in with the wedge and does like the kind of practice. But people were getting really worked up about that. So he just, Wyndham sort of opened the door. The wipey big right miss came into play with the cut / slice. Same. He lipped out on 18 though. I forgot about this. Could have, despite Scotty's 64, Wyndham had a chance to force a playoff. The ball was like half down, lipped out and pops out. This was a great tournament, by the way. This was like this. A lot of people said this is the best event, majors included, of the last 2 years. Like everything delivered from day one. Like everybody loved this event. Like truly, after a crappy start, this was a great one. And that lip out at the end sort of took it all the way home. Scotty's the first ever back-to-back players, winner at the back-to-back champion of the players. There was some Wyndham Clark mashing at 10 that people started hollering about, but I think people were just really sensitive after the Bay Hill one and 18, which was legit, but people got into him on that. Scotty shoots 64 while injured. He barely gained a stroke on the greens, barely. I think 0.6 shots on the green, shooting a 64, which tells you just how everything was. Lowest final round by a winner since 2003 DL3. And he wasn't like, he kind of missed left on 16. He had a 3-wood off 18. He just sort of played it smart and got in the house with a 64. This kicks into like real audacious Tiger comps. Like people are going like, is he the best player really since Tiger? He's won back-to-back players. He hadn't even gotten to the Masters yet. The Bay Hill was like his first win since the players, almost a year. But like we are immediately kicking into, is this the best player since Tiger? And this is before his summer. He had started the year 26 of 26 rounds under par. They're like Roberto Castro, like this is video game golf. It's kind of insane what he's doing. And he hadn't even won since Bay Hill, just all those under par rounds. Porter tweeted, if you played all 8 rounds of Bay Hill and Sawgrass and played both courses to field average, you would be about 2 under at the end of 2 weeks. Scotty was 35 under. So much better than field average, if you can believe it or not. The Xander can't close narrative comes in strong here. So he's got 13 runners up on the PGA Tour now. He could not keep up with Scheffler at all. He starts missing, had some bad misses right. I'm sorry. Did I say Clark was missing left? I meant right. Xander also missing right, which we've seen happen occasionally. Quail, in 23, it happens. He's 2 for 7 now with the 54 hole co-lead or lead. And Alex Myers said, if it seems like he has more fair share of close calls, because he does. He did some digging. Rudimentary math to come up with something called a runner-up ratio, and Xander is very poor among the top players. He has a much higher number of second-place finishes compared to wins against players of his caliber, or with similar amounts of top 5 finishes. Most guys just get wins at a higher rate than he had at this point. He had trouble controlling his fades. What else? Porter had all these data golf tweets of like his final rounds when it's the lead are a disaster, like losing strokes in every single one except for the 2020 Century. Like bad when he has the lead, loses a lot of strokes compared to Wyndham, who like shows up and gains strokes when he has the lead of 54 hole. He bogeyed 14. It was just like really hard narrative. And here we are in December, and he's 2-time major winner, arguably the player of the year, and just an astonishing year. And people are saying he doesn't have that dog in him. Joseph wrote, he failed to execute through the back 9 on 17 putting. He's high on my list. He's not high on my list of guys I want pulling off an important shot. He certainly has changed it. And people were like, this is a referendum on their careers. Sunday's pace of play was a disaster. Bleeds into the selection show. I
remember that.
The one time, just finish at 6 and it goes to 6:30. And so they've got this great event, right? But sports fans want to watch the brackets, and you're not going to see Wyndham Clark and play 17, 18. You're gonna, it's just a mess because it was so slow. Golf Channel got a ton of praise. Great event. Golf Channel was firing. They brought back Roger Maltby, Gary Koch. This was very
what
emotional.
Zinger says they'll do: throw money at the players, cut money from everything else.
So this was a big one. And the graphics were good. The smiley thing was pretty fun on 17 with Kisner. It was just a good week for Golf Channel. The coverage, the tournament, it all meshed together. People were fired up. Maybe not the best week for Jay, who was finally gives the trophy out, had his troubles at the press conference, then does the trophy presentation in his own backyard, in his own home, and is booed loudly, noticeably on the broadcast. Tirico and Scheffler up there on the dais.
Shame on him. I want to first start off.
It was not a good reception at his home event, and everyone noticed that. He was booed very loudly at the trophy presentation. They closed the week with rumors of this meeting with Yasser Al-Rumayyan. Is he coming east? Is Eric West? Are we going to meet with them? They would meet.
Do you think they flew north
next week? No. And Rory had a great quote about the meeting. Look, we just got to meet with this guy. Liv has done a disservice to him. Norman, those guys, they've represented him in a poor way. Fundamentally, Piff is very different than Liv. There's a big difference. The closer that we can get to Yasser, Piff, finalize the investment, I think that would be a really good thing. They, quote, want to park money for decades and not worry about it. They want to invest in smart and secure businesses, and the PGA Tour is definitely one of those, especially if they're looking to invest in sport in some way. Park money for decades. Can't lay on the meeting with Yasser. I don't imagine anything substantive. It's more of a meet and greet. So not really a great, optimistic quote. I don't imagine anything substantive, just a meet and greet. Adam Scott, another board member, says he wants to put a face with the name. And I tweeted, do they not know what he looks like? So just these sort of,
that's something you say
around,
to someone you meet the first time after you've exchanged a bunch of emails.
Rory or Kaylee says, can't imagine anything substantive. Adam Scott, come on, guys. Webb says we should probably talk to him. It's let's go. Malnati had some incredible quotes. Another board member said he says it's swung too far since player control since June 6th. We have too much control. The players do. It's gone too far the other way. We should have input and knowledge and comment, but it's swung too far since June 6th. Too many players in control. And then had this revealing quote. This player equity plan, I don't understand it. It's a little bit above my head. Again, this guy's on the board. Says he just straight up doesn't understand the player equity plan. I certainly know enough to say that I really do support it. What? I don't understand it. It's above my head, but I certainly know enough to say I do support it. It's going to make players owners of the tour, and guys who violate our policies aren't ever going to be eligible for that. That's a big deal. Like, that's a big deal. So you had a lot of board stuff closing up the week with the Yasser meeting coming up on the heels of this. Jimmy Walker, for some reason, inserted himself into this week. He just unloaded on the PGA Tour. PJ, you said this was one of your favorite discoveries. Unloaded. He says, I don't pay much attention to what Jay says anymore. I think he's full of it. They've kept us in. He didn't play this week. I don't think he was in the field. They've kept us in the dark. This has been handled extremely poorly. Do I have any faith in the tour? I don't know. I really don't think we've got some of the best and brightest working on it. Of the top 70 retaining status, it was such a poor job of communicating that to the fan base. Even me, when I came back, I didn't know. It was only halfway through the year that it wasn't the lock that you had to be the top 70 to keep your card. It was like, this is unbelievable. I was pissed off. That's how I felt. On Wyndham Clark saying only top 100 should get cards. So it's a lot for Wyndham Clark to start barking orders. If there were 100 players, he may not have gotten to where he is today, myself included. I think, wasn't Jimmy Walker a beneficiary of live defections? I think bumped him up into, like, you take guys off the FedEx Cup. It says we want an off season. The tour for a long time was about maximizing playing opportunities, and now it's gone completely. They've created less opportunities. Bad for the tour. So yeah, he says Jay, I don't pay any attention to it. Like Jimmy Walker, not a part of the proceedings, but inserts himself. Last but not least, PJ, you have anything else on the players you want to throw in here? Any other odds and ends?
Yeah, I had one near and dear to my heart. Yes. Greg showed up to Met spring training. And sat in Steve's box to discuss some SSG going ons.
Is that, you think that was Greg Norman with Steve Cohen? Daddy Steve?
I don't know what Steve is up to with Greg, but it's a hilarious visual.
Did you hear? It sounds like Soto's going to the Red Sox.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not until Jeff Passan tells me where Juan Soto's played. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it.
And then
he's not coming to the Cubs.
No, don't think he's coming to the Cubs.
I don't understand why we don't spend any money.
That is an interesting dynamic. Last but not least, from Players Week, another rousing, great event. Former Players Champion winner Hal Sutton has to tweet clarification that he is not, in fact, dead. After a misprint in the PGA magazine. Put him in. Hal Sutton tweets, just a correction. This is for the audio. The PGA magazine put me in their obituaries as having passed away on January 19th. I didn't, and I'm alive and well, just putting the finishing touches on Darmore Club before opening June 1. Thanks to all who have checked up on me. Hal Sutton, not dead, even though an obituary section in the PGA magazine. Former Great Players Championship winner. Be the right club today. Hal Sutton alive. That does it for the fifth major, the Gold Boy Standard Players Championship year in review. We're going to take a break, do a couple Hero World Challenge episodes, and be back picking it up in Florida. Thank you. Comment on the live YouTube. We'll get you a Chaplin bag.
Comment on the YouTube video
or the old posting. We're going to combine them from live comments to post.
There's only one YouTube submission this week because we'll only have one. Maybe we'll do one live. I don't know. Maybe we'll do another live one. Who knows?
That's a legit prize, Chaplin bag. Black Friday 24 in the shop through Tuesday, and Goodwalk Coffee. Subscribe to goodwalkcoffee.com/shotgun. Maybe I'll send an ornament. Maybe I won't. Andy's sort of popping me for that idea.
I think you should send the ornament.
I'm going to send it. It's a little extra carrot for subscribers. All right. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
I might sign somebody up just so they have a chance to get
the
ornament.
It's a good little Masters ornament for your golf enthusiasts out there. Everyone enjoy your Mondays. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.